Welcome, everyone, to Keto King's Beer and Barbecue Banter, an open topic show, the Cyberman Cave. Anything goes, unscripted, ad-libs, uncensored. Anything can be discussed. I'm James P. Madonna, of course, your host, and I'm here. I'm going to introduce all my co-hosts here and guests. 1, 2, 3. There they are. The one and only Jason Cleveland from the state of Washington, Thomas Middle 75 from southeastern Massachusetts, BC Beer Reviews. Of course, you know BC from Michigan. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, folks.
How you doing today? It's Master of Ceremonies, James.
Master of Bation. No, we're all here, and look at Jason's wonderful patio. Look at the stonework. Look at the fire pit. Look at the pine trees, the Gothic fog, and the smoker, the big green dinosaur egg in the background. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Wunderbar. And
now, is that egg in the bag? Is that a velociraptor or is that something else?
That's a giant green leprechaun gonad.
Let's see here. Should we go take a look at it?
Yeah. Let's go take a look at it.
Let's go take a look at it here. Let's go take a look at it here.
I know BC Beer Reviews has got an ultimate pork loin in his smoker grill, and we're going to take a bird's eye view of what Jason Cleveland has. I know what he has.
So let's take a peek here. I actually started this because we're on a bit of we've got to eat dinner at around 4.
All
right. Because we're going to go look at some Christmas lights tonight. So I had started this earlier. So what this is it's about a 3-pound chuck roast that I got. It was on sale. And what I did was I seared this off on both sides. And then I put in the big green egg is very versatile. You can do direct and indirect cooking. There's a plate in there which keeps the heat from touching the grill. So you can cook indirect. And I put some cherry wood in there for smoking. And I've got a couple probes in there. And we're looking at an internal temperature of the meat at 88 degrees. And the grill temperature, the grate temperature, is at 235. When this gets close to done, I am going to put the roast in this pan here. I've cut up some onion and green pepper, and there's about a half a stick of butter. There's like a cup of barbecue sauce left in here. There's one of these BC beers that he loves so much. And then some beef broth, and we're going to kind of braise it in there, and we're going to have like some sandwiches. We'll make some sandwiches. So hopefully this is all done during the show so we can show all this going together and the sandwiches when they're being eaten. So
Oh, yeah, hold off, BC. Hold on, I'll be right there. Okay.
I was taking my probe, so I forgot to put mine in.
All right.
Forgot. Oh, your little pecker probe. Well, let's see what you got there. I know you got a pork loin.
Yeah, see, got the pork loin here going. And mine, okay, there we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Now, mine I stuffed with pork stuffing with onions or mushrooms and apple slices. Now, I've got a layer of apple slices on one side, and then I chopped up a bunch of onions to put into the cornbread. So you're getting apple all the way around in the stuffing for this pork loin. Of course, I had to score the fat side so the smoke could penetrate into the fat there of the pork loin. Wrapped it up with some butcher twine, and as you see, I got the charcoal going, so we're going good.
Excellent.
BC, that looks fantastic.
Oh,
How long do you think that'll take?
Last time it took probably about 2.5 hours for me to do mine. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's within the timeline of the show then.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, within the food part of the timeline. Let's see that fire pit there. I disappeared. Jason, the fire pit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to drag this thing closer. I've got just one of these little. This is not built in. This is like from Lowe's or something. But it's around 30 degrees, believe it or not. So this actually feels good just sitting next to this thing.
Oh yeah.
You ever see that colored glass? I don't know what the hell it is. They have these fire pits with this colored glass around it. I know it's not just plain glass, but
yeah, I've seen those. This one has like lava rock in it.
Oh, that's even better.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm drinking a Miller High Life. I know this is mass produced and gives you a heartburn and everything, but it's close to water as I can get.
Better you than me. I mean, better you drinking that than me. Of course, you're not.
And it's a little early for me, but it is progressive discussion, so we've got to pull out all the stops today, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna make a statement before we get the ball rolling. But before I make the statement, we're gonna go to Thomas Middle 75 and see what he is eating.
Oh, a Coke Zero. Oh boy.
What kind of aroma do you get on that?
Little gastronomy.
Hold on. All right.
I
don't know how well I'm going to be able to show this to you. Let me see if I can. Let me see if the screen will allow me to do that. There you go.
There you go. I see it.
We got half barbecue chicken. Oh, they call it Smoky Joe. It's barbecue chicken with bacon and red onions, and then the other half here is buffalo chicken. Typically, I don't. Whoa, hello. Typically,
oh, we don't want the crotch, you know.
Wow. What happens when you're on a computer and you can't be
like, hey, banana peppers?
Over here.
Banana pepper. Eric La Crotcha.
Typically, I don't really like barbecue chicken pizza because I feel like everything mass-produced that's got barbecue flavors is just like a sweet, syrupy kind of a mess. And this is kind of slightly going in that really syrupy, sweet direction. I'm more of a savory fan of pizza rather than sweet stuff. But I mean, I think this is just pretty average run-of-the-mill pizza. There's nothing to really. Maybe it's slightly better than Domino's, if that. Like it's pretty average, plain Jane pizza, but it'll do, and it's got some barbecue flavor. Okay. Yeah.
Was that delivered or takeout or pickup?
I went and picked it up before the show. Yeah, it was like 17 something, and before the tax for the two halves of a large like that. So yeah.
Now is takeout and pickup the same thing?
I suppose you're right.
Yes.
But okay, that's the thing. Pickup is one of these things the driver can actually set it in your car for you. That's pickup. But takeout, you have to walk in and walk out with it, right?
Oh, okay. You're right. You know,
you went in and got it. Yep.
If you order through an app, like we have an app called Slice, which delivers pizza. And
Yeah, I went right on this place's website and ordered it and just went and picked it up. And then I had already paid online with my credit card. Yeah. Pretty easy.
When I get the Chinese food from Szechuan Express, I go to their app. I go to not their app. I go to an app called Q Menu, and I place my order. I check what I want in the box, and they already have my debit card information and my address. They already have my address, my phone number, everything, and I just go one click, ping, and that's it. I mean,
and it shows up at your doorstep.
Yeah, you gotta love technology.
Butter and jelly. It's like peanut butter and jelly, but that is the thickness of barbecue sauce in this thing.
Is that peanut butter and jelly?
Syrupy. Yeah.
That's what Alex had.
Well,
Alex,
there you go, and it comes all the way out of the pizza.
It always does. Yeah. That's what Alex. That's the theme that Alex had on one of his Friday food shows.
Well, he had barbecue. He had some barbecue chicken, I think, this Friday.
Oh,
which might actually have been a better pizza than this, but
it's like
this is kind of
the peanut butter and jelly oozing out, which it always does. Well, so does egg salad when you think about it. Sandwich. The same thing happens with. There used to be this hot dog place when I was a kid, where the hot dogs were huge, but they could never get rolls to accommodate the Frankfurters. They were so huge, and all the topping would fall out, the hot dog would fall out, and it like the roll would disintegrate around the damn.
Are you supposed to eat it? It's beyond me.
It was called Callahan's, and their slogan was "So big, so good."
All right.
That was.
They're still in business, James?
No, they're not in business. There used to be a masonry supply company where their slogan was "Our bricks get laid."
Oh boy!
Yeah, they sold cinder blocks and bricks, for construction workers. But
I wonder, James, if they came up with that themselves or if they paid somebody for that slogan.
Well, it's clever. I mean,
it is very clever.
It's a play on words, but you can't get in trouble for it because bricks really do get laid.
That's true.
If you're a mason, you're a brick layer, right? So,
BC, what have you got there?
I've got what is that? Subtle Self-Righteous Black IPA by Stone's Brewery.
The Righteous Brothers. Let's see.
That looks excellent.
I was planning to review this on my channel. What was that? Yesterday, but I was looking at the date on the bottle. It's old, so I'm kind of stuck with the product. So,
yeah.
Well, if I'm stuck with it, I might as well drink it on the side. You know what I mean? Kind of like what we're doing now.
I think, Eric, you mentioned on Stout Sunday, if there's no date, then you just have to go with what you see, right?
Everybody else gets kind of angry with that logic, but how can you not? If it tastes old, then review the beer, then your review conclusion is you got an old beer. If it doesn't taste old, you can't review in conclusion that it's an old beer. That's what I'm trying to say. You just have to go off of what you're tasting. You can't.
That's a good point.
You can't just say, well, there's no date. That means that it's old. Like, that doesn't mean anything. That means that either
it has the potential of being old,
or they got 4 packs and they have the date stapled onto the top of it with a sticker or something. You don't know. Review it for what it is.
Yep. I think it'd be interesting, maybe for yourself, Eric, or for Jay, Ronald Terrio, or any of those other beer reviewers, like a blind taste challenge to do like an expired, the same beer. Let's say you're doing Miller High Life, okay?
Yeah.
Same beer, you do an expired one against a non-expired one, totally blind, and see if you can tell the difference. I'm pretty sure you could, but it'd be interesting nonetheless.
You might not be able to tell, maybe.
To see if they could
be able to. And then that would debunk that myth for that beer. Look, if it's expired, it really doesn't matter, right?
At the end of the day, right?
I'm talking about expired beers. I watched them what do they call that? Skerplunking, where you'll get people that, oh, nice.
Oh, that looks excellent.
Yeah,
Floppy.
but you'll get people that go into these like abandoned places, like bunkers, houses, asylums, hospitals, these different abandoned places, and they'll explore these places, right? And they came across this one where they had I'm talking tons of beer unopened. It was like a bunch of Budweisers, and you could tell it was old because they had the old little slip that you had to peel off.
It was like a pole top.
Yeah, it was like a piece of tape where you had to pull it off, and it was that old, like from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, and, and they actually had somebody drink it. It was like, oh my god, that was the worst thing I've ever had in my entire life. So
they're braver than myself, right?
Or have diarrhea either way, or both.
Using me, right?
Yeah.
Well, ABC, before I forget, congratulations on winning a Big Ten championship, first one in 17 years, and going to the college football playoff. Cheers, BC.
Thank you, Jason. Cheers.
It seemed like they were going to win that. It seemed pretty sad stuff.
And you know what the funniest thing was? That day, I got off work. I went to the store, and I seen some guy walking in. He had a couple of U of M stuff out of his wheelchair. And he seen me wearing my hat. It was like, go blue big. And then next thing you know, we started talking about the game that day that was coming on later on. And it was like, don't you think they're overdue? Oh, hell yeah, they're overdue to win against Suck Guys. And it was like, my God, I was going nuts on like my Twitter and Facebook account with that.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, but on
Not Twitter.
Twitter, I ended up posting a bottle of Buffalo Trace and a shot. I've got a couple of shot glasses of U of M.
Oh yeah.
So I pulled one up and said, "Cheers to the boys in blue, go blue." So ended up getting like 22 likes on that tweet. So it was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. Let me. Tits the season. It's the season. I'm just drinking the Polish potato vodka infusion. All right, I got the cranberries and navel oranges in there for a couple of weeks, and
Oranges.
as you can see, all these sells this spaghetti sauce. Where if you save the jar, you got a measuring cup, as you can see.
Oh, okay.
All right, you go to all these. Look for hold on, it's called Priano. Priano. It's actually good spaghetti sauce. It's not bad. Priano, and you get yourself a shaker, storage, and the measuring cup. I mean, can't go wrong.
I got a question for you, James. Do you still store that in the freezer, or is that in the refrigerator?
Oh no, this stays in the freezer.
Freezer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do with my vodka too. I put it in the freezer.
Oh,
I got a half gallon of Absolute vodka in the freezer right now.
That's what I did with my Rumpel Mints peppermint schnapps. I kept it in the freezer.
Right, light.
Woo! And it's really a hell of anything minty is a lot better ice cold than.
Except for Dr. McGillicuddy, that'll never be good. Ugh.
Dr. McGill, what is that?
Or the lower grade version, Mr. Boston's. Woo.
Oh,
That is one thing. If that's from Boston around me, then that's one thing Boston got wrong.
oh. Yeah, it's like what is that, 5 o'clock vodka? Oh my God, I cannot stand 5 o'clock
That's
vodka.
like 12 in the morning vodka.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
5 o'clock, 6
Plastic
o'clock,
bottle.
7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We're gonna rock around. She's gonna
If
rock
vodka-
around our cock tonight.
If the vodka bounces off the ground, that's a vodka you don't want.
Hey, what now?
If the vodka bounces off the ground, that's not a very high class vodka. You don't want that.
Meaning it's in a plastic bottle.
Oh no, you can't put that in the freezer because there's toxic chemicals in the plastic that'll leach.
It'll leak
Yeah,
out.
true.
Any plastic put in the freezer will do that. There's
Plastic.
really toxic chemicals in there. I mean,
Yep.
but I wanna make a statement of something that's really bothering me as of recent news. Okay, for those that know this, CNN's Chris Cuomo was unjustly fired abruptly from CNN, and it has to do with him. They feel that he was helping his brother, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, a little too much. And I just want to say, I strongly believe that Andrew Cuomo's sexual harassment allegations was part of a neoliberal, man-hating feminist setup with the help of that female attorney general. There is no solid evidence involving witnesses to support these allegations. It makes me think back years ago when Jimmy the Greek Snyder was unjustly fired by, I think, one of the major networks for stating true facts that rub neoliberals the wrong way. And that's the extent of what I want to say about Chris Cuomo's firing. He was a victim of political correctness, and
I would assume that they would give him a very comfortable severance package, though, right?
yeah.
And,
I would imagine so. It would be in his contract, yeah.
Well, they indefinitely see. First they said fired, and then they says they indefinitely suspended him pending further investigation, in which they will make a decision the first of the year.
So would that indefinite suspension affect his severance pay? I'm
Probably.
assuming so.
Oh no, I'm sure he invested his money wisely. I'm sure.
Yeah, I was about to say he's probably got a couple of millions in the bank.
He doesn't need to get another job for the rest of his life.
I mean, he's been there for many years, and he gets like 1 million people watching his show every night. I mean, he's like the biggest star. He was the biggest star of CNN, and I'm sure he's very financially independent. So
It goes to show you that. I think as far as the governor Andrew Cuomo was concerned, it goes to show you that he probably shouldn't have been given an Emmy during the pandemic. I mean, that's a little crazy. Everybody else was in the same boat as him, and then later on it goes to show that that whole governor's cabinet or whatever was doctoring up numbers about what really happened in the pandemic, and it was much worse than he was trying to let on. He was trying to have people, hush hush a little bit about it. So we should probably we shouldn't we should be making our own conclusions at the end of the day about what's going on, what you really want to believe, what you don't. At the end of the day, it's the same thing when you watch the news. I think you need to make your own judgments and conclusions. I mean, I don't really like watching a lot of even Fox News. I'm not even like a huge fan of that, but I'm just not a huge fan of you're trying to watch the news, get the facts, but then again, the newscasters themselves interviewing somebody keep constantly interrupting that person all the time. It's like that's a really great conversation you're having. You keep interrupting the person to get your point across, not to hear.
Because it's all about them. It's ego. It's all about the personality, and not necessarily bringing your listeners and your viewers the whole story.
The way that you would like to present the story. In other words.
Now, the thing I realized that they might have wanted to get rid of Andrew Cuomo because of the patients that tested positive for COVID being sent to nursing homes. I don't know all the facts, but I know a lot of people in nursing homes have died from COVID for a botched, ridiculous, stupid plan that he had to do that.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't just people on the opposite side of the aisle, though, in the state of New York. There were so many people universally in that state that were fed up, that got fed up with the way that he conducted business and the way that it sounded like he was just disingenuous just in order to probably keep his job about what was going on during the pandemic. Like, we have the lowest number of COVID cases, and yet no, you didn't. No. It's kind of sad that you misled people into thinking everything's hunky-dory where you live, and that you should be given a daytime Emmy. Come on now.
Well, that woman who was the primary complainant, the primary so-called victim of Andrew Cuomo's sexual harassment, she didn't even like push him away, walk out of the room, scold him, smack his hand away from her. She didn't do any of that. All she said was calmly to him, because Andrew Cuomo went and closed the door after she said this. She says, the both of us are going to get in trouble for this. Now, a woman who is appalled by being touched or being approached in an improper way is not going to calmly say to the assailant, I think the both of us are going to get in trouble for this. In other words, they would say, "What are you doing? This is inappropriate. I'm not interested. Don't touch me." And push him away. But she didn't do that, which I found to be.
Well, another thing I might inject too, James, is that,
sure.
And this is, of course, we're just going on the facts, which are fairly limited, I would say. But most of these incidents happened a long time ago, right? I don't have an exact timeline of the people that came out and had accusations against the former governor. Mm-hmm. But it's not like this happened, yesterday, so to speak, right? So these people had been sitting on these allegations for a long time. And then typically what happens, it snowballs. So one person comes out. Now they may be paid to come out. Who knows, right? I'm sure you'll know. But one person comes out, and then it's like 15, 20 more come out, right? It's a little, I guess it makes it a little less believable in that regard, just simply because, I was always raised, if you see something, say something, right? Even if you're unsure about it, just mention it to somebody, right? Sitting on this stuff for years, it just seems a little calculated, right?
Yep.
And I'm sure you could have all sorts of theories about that, but why didn't they say something the day it happened or the minute it happened, right? Why wait years?
Exactly.
Because it just compounds it too, right? And it makes your story less believable, in my opinion.
But if I could interrupt for a second there, Jason, sorry. But, okay, for girls, they talk about everything. I mean, everything. Now, for us guys, it's maybe a little bit different, okay? Now, me personally, sometimes I have a tendency of holding things in. I'm not saying I'm holding grudges. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying sometimes I don't say everything. But then again, my mindset's that type of thing where, like what you're talking about, Jason. Okay, if something's not right, say something. Okay, fine. Now, I have a tendency, anybody that really knows me, I have a tendency of really speaking what's on my mind. I do not care who you are. I do not care what it is that I'm thinking. I'm going to tell you what it is that I'm thinking exactly. And, it's just one of them things. And, for them, it's like, I'm really agreeing with you where it's like they've been sitting on this for years and years and years. And, there's a big difference between male and female. And I've got to really agree that it was really calculated. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, because of all this political correctness crap, a man can't give a female coworker a compliment or ask her to lunch or he can't say anything because it's her word against his, and her word has more merit in today's society.
That's a true statement. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's just like if a woman gets pregnant and she decides not to get an abortion, she decides to keep it. She doesn't ask the father, would you like to be a parent? Because if you say yes, then you have to pay child support. And if he says, no, I don't want to be a parent, you conceived, get an abortion. I don't feel like paying child support for 18 years. Guess what? She turns around and says, well, guess what? I'm keeping the baby. And then she takes him to court and he has to pay the child support. And a man, if you get divorced and the woman has one child by you, she takes you right to the cleaners.
Yep.
She bends you right over the coals. She gets a lawyer and you're done. Stick a fork in that pork loin, you're done. And that's my brother has to live. My brother has to stay in the same house that he built with his wife, and that even though they sleep in separate rooms and they have no more romantic feelings for each other, he's got to stay there because she has one last child that's still a minor. And if he leaves, she'll take him to the cleaners. And
I think it may be a matter of time before you start hearing sexual allegations against Mr. President Joe Biden there, because he's so handsy, touchy-feely. There are photos of him in videos of him sniffing women's hair right behind them. That's not creepy at all. That's not creepy. I don't know what the hell it is.
He was inhaling young girls from the back for their scalps.
And there's some other video of him talking at some recreational center or by some community pool, saying he likes to rub up against the hair of men or whatever.
No, he says young boys.
I'm like, what the hell? He physically said that. I didn't get that word for word correctly, but that's basically what he said.
No, he said word for word that
in the hair. I'm like, what the hell?
These these young black kids
excluded to this, no matter who the hell you are. I'm saying, I agree to a certain extent that there are still gender gaps in society and how we should be treating one another. I get that idea, but it's not mutually exclusive to any one particular individual or not. People in these societies and high power think that they can get away with stuff because they're of high power and they think they have some kind of influence over everybody. Big news here. You definitely don't.
And they're untouchable too. They think they're untouchable as well.
That was the problem with that governor. I forget when he was the governor. Alex the Beer Master could tell you. This guy Huey Long down in Louisiana, where he literally thought that because I'm the governor, I'm above the law. And he argued that till pretty much the day he died. I have nothing to do. I don't have to abide by the law because I am the law. I'm above it. No one's above the law, Mr. Governor.
Yeah, you guys ever see that movie? God, what the hell was that movie? It was Sly Stallone, Judge Dredd. And,
I remember that.
And there's a scene in there where he's talking to his brother, and it was you betrayed the law. The law. You're above the law. I was like, I've got that scene stuck in my head now. Yeah.
I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. It was part of it. But Joe Biden said that the young black kids used to pet the hair on his legs.
Maybe that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
At the pool, because the sun turned the hair on his legs a very light color. That's what he said. And then all the photos of him being pushed away by the young girls with an angry look on their face, and him getting behind them all, sniffing their scalps. Now, and you see how fast.
That's creepy behavior, man. That's creepy behavior.
But do you
Really?
see how fast the media just dropped that whole?
Oh yeah.
Just
if
like
Donald Trump was doing that, if Donald Trump was doing that when he was president, whole different story would have come out from your Chris Cuomo's of
yeah,
the
but
world.
Donald Trump, remember the statements he made during the campaign about grabbing the
Oh, grab her by
coochie?
and grab her by the vajayjay. Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
again, it's another thing to see Joe Biden actually sniffing women's scalps. Like, what the fuck? Come on.
grab
At
the
least
women.
Trump was smart about it. There's no video evidence that I know of.
Now we know of.
I'm
Grab the
grabbing
women.
the vajayjay. I mean, hey, I love the vajayjay as much as everybody else, but hey,
The J-Lo.
there's certain limits I'm going to go to, man.
Hey, he said, grab the women by the coochie and start kissing them, and they're yours automatically. You know,
Hey,
yeah,
as long as I got permission, man, hey, I'm going to touch that vajayjay all day long. But that's a different story altogether. You know what I mean?
Sontag is another alias of somebody else. I'm here. Like I don't know who you are, Jeremy. Sontag.
Okay, all right then.
No, James, that's a friend of mine.
Oh, you know him?
It's legitimate. Yeah. He
Oh,
and I
it's
went
like-
to high school
I'm sorry.
together. I sent him the link. So hello,
Oh,
Jeremy. He's a
all right.
chiropractor. He's actually a chiropractor.
all right. Greetings, Jeremy Sontag. Greetings. I thought I
So
didn't know.
if you have any questions about chiropractic care or nutrition or exercise, he's got more degrees than a protractor.
Well, I know.
I was talking about that little tool that we used to use in math class.
Yes,
Listen,
I can.
my mother, my late Thomas Middle said something funny on the private. Yeah, that's cute.
What's going on with him, man? What happened to him? I thought he was supposed to show up last week.
No.
JJ Lopez. He said, now Jeremy, my late mother used to take me when I was in early grammar school to chiropractic. So you pretty much, our family has been going to chiropractors our entire lives. And I remember his name, Dr. Tambor, and he was an old school chiropractor that did like acupressure, you know, which is like
the needles.
No, not acupuncture. Acupressure, like it's like reflex.
Acupuncture, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, it's similar to acupuncture. It deals with the electromagnetic pathways called meridians that flow through our body. Okay.
Oh, so he uses magnets?
He did. He used magnet therapy, which is an ancient therapy. Magnets, yes. And I think magnets are similar to cupping because my grandmother did cupping.
Well,
She
I don't
was
see the connection, but okay, for argument's sake, I'll agree with you.
Yeah, right. In the old days, like they would take a coin in Europe. I mean, China does it, but they do it different. And dip it in oil, and they would light it, and they would put the cup on the affected area upside down, and the flame causes suction. Now,
because it sucks up all the oxygen, so it has nothing to do but suck everything in. Yeah.
So I think the suction of cupping therapy has to do with drawing the blood circulation to the affected area. Now, Jeremy, step in if I'm saying anything wrong. More famous medical nutritionists on the radio are originally chiropractors and osteopaths than any other medical field.
Okay, that word I don't understand. Osteopath.
Osteopathy is
the bones. Something to do with bones.
Well, they're more alternative medicine than a regular medical doctor. The only thing is they can prescribe medication, drugs, whereas a chiropractor cannot prescribe. But a chiropractor recommend nutritional supplements. You know,
Isn't there a name for that? Is there a name for that? The alternative medicines, or like an alternative?
Yeah, complementary medicine. Good morning, Masubi. Good morning from Japan. It is now 4:38 p.m. in Tokyo. Good morning.
PM or AM?
AM.
I'm sorry. It is now 4:38 a.m. Monday in the Tokyo area. 4:38
Monday,
a.m.
James's favorite day, right?
Monday morning?
Everybody's favorite
Rainy
day.
Oh, hell
days.
no.
Well, what did Karen Carpenter say? Rainy days and Mondays always get her down.
That's
Uh,
very true.
You know, that's a tragic story within itself, right there, man. With
Absolutely.
Karen Carpenter. I swear to God, you know, she was really an attractive lady, and
Yep.
you know,
drummer.
yeah, and you know, it was like the Judy Garland effect, where
Yes.
she was really attractive, but they would say that she was like too fat, too ugly, this, that, and the third. And you know, I've watched a lot of Judy Garland flicks and no Karen Carpenter, and you know they're really attractive, but you know it's like leave them alone, man. Come on. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
They're under a lot of stress. I mean,
you got to remember in the back of your mind what those 60s looking Barbie dolls looked like. They were like super pencil thin too.
yeah,
Almost
I mean,
looking.
but then again, I might be a different breed of man and likes a maybe thicker version of a girl.
Hey, I mean,
I'm with you on this one.
Bend over my knee. I'm a different breed of man.
Wasn't there a song we talked about Mondays? There was a song called
Bad Girl,
Stormy Monday. They call it Stormy Monday. Tuesday is just as bad. Yeah.
Daryl Messiah from
okay, that reminds me of a Cure song.
Daryl Messiah from Northern California.
Friday, I'm in love. Yeah.
Hey, Daryl.
You're everywhere on the chats, Daryl.
All right. So far, Jeremy.
Very true, he says. Very good.
I think he was saying very true in regard to what you were talking about, the cupping, where you like the matter, and then I've actually had that done, but just with the vacuum suction.
Oh yeah.
So the doctor.
Well, they do that at massage parlors too, but that's a different thing.
Okay, forget what I was going to say. Go straight into what you were talking about,
James.
Actually, I could tell you a great story about a massage parlor, but I'll save that for the after show. But the cupping.
I've got a question about that, but I'll wait until it goes back up again. Yeah,
I don't have a question about that. I won't ask after the show.
Yeah, he heard.
I think we're thinking of the same thing, so I'll wait. Yeah.
When I was talking about alternative therapy, about acupressure, shiatsu, you know, different things like cupping or acupuncture. Then the Chinese they're very much into traditional herbal medicine. And it's really, I mean, the only problem with alternative medicine, Medicare and health insurance does not pay for it. So you have to pay out of pocket to get acupuncture treatments. That's the problem with that.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again, James.
Insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. It doesn't pay for alternative therapy.
Now that's some do. Our plan offers. So our plan is a very good plan. The company I work for is a very good company, but they allow us one chiropractic visit per month, so we get 12 per year. You don't have to go once a month; you can go 12 times in a row.
Oh no, I can go to chiropractor, but anything outside of chiropractic.
No, and we also get 12 acupuncture visits.
Really?
Wow, we do.
Washington is
and we get like 30 massage visits.
I'm coming out to Washington right now. I'm a big grunge fan myself. I'm coming out there next week. That's all there is to it, man.
Come on out, BC. Look, I got plenty of room here. I mean, I got nothing but room. Look,
okay, sweet, man. We can do some barbecues, do some beer reviews, and whatnot. Hey, we got it covered.
Actually,
you're talking about the therapeutic Swedish massage, not the risque.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. I was thinking of the mouse.
Not the hanky
Okay,
panky.
yes.
Beside.
No, not the hanky panky kind.
It's
Oh,
funny
the happy ending ones, yeah.
It's
Oh my god! Woo.
Unless you get a happy beginning.
I'm sorry, you're talking to a single guy here, so my mind kind of went out.
Oh, wait a minute, Jeremy. That's why the chiropractor I know now from Hong Kong, China, only takes Medicare because insurance companies probably won't cover chiropractic adjustments, only Medicare.
Right.
Here I thought he was being difficult.
The whole process is difficult for everybody. It doesn't make sense to anybody.
Yeah, they're refusing health insurance. Yeah, it's odd that Medicare would cover it. But
well, so what's funny is Jeremy actually told me a story at the office he works at, where he's a chiropractor. Someone came in for a massage, right? Legitimately booked it. It's all insurance and everything. And this person had the wrong idea about what they were getting. So they actually had to look, this is not that kind of place.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine this poor guy? This poor guy probably woke up he's tunnel vision. All he can think about is how great this massage is going to be. Right?
Yeah, but wait a minute. It's common sense. If it's part of a chiropractic office, why would they expect anything?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Jeremy, you can fill us in on the bottom there, but on the comments. But I thought that was kind of funny. He's like, yeah, I actually had to talk to this guy. Kind of talk him off the ledge.
People don't follow. I mean, they follow their thoughts all the way through, but it's not the right way of following it through. I'm assuming
there'll be no cupping happening in that massage.
He wanted to fill her in on the bottom. That's what he wanted. He wanted to fill her in on the bottom. A young college kid. Well, they don't have a lot of common sense. I mean, look at what they do on spring break, for God's sakes. I mean, yeah.
They go on MTV drunk.
They get up on the balcony of the hotel and they're like walking. They're like a circus act. They're like drunk and they're trying to walk on the
Panama City, Florida, 98, baby. Woo! No, I don't know.
Hey, speaking of that, Eric, all those charges were eventually dropped, I believe, right? Against Mr. Kraft.
Yeah, there wasn't enough. I think there was I don't know if there wasn't enough evidence or legally it was decided that they couldn't use certain pieces of evidence.
I could go in a funny direction. So what you're saying is that the girl threw the tissue in the garbage and the garbage was burned, right? There's no evidence.
All right.
I don't know if you can legally. I don't know how it becomes illegal to use the evidence. That I'm not sure about. But some garbage can in Juniper, Florida, could be making millions off of being a Robert Kraft clone.
I don't. Okay. I've got two things to say here. Okay. One is talking about freaking the special stuff. And I don't know if you've ever seen that TV show The Shield. Well, I guess there was an episode where there was now I'm not trying to make light of this, and this is kind of a serious subject to a certain extent, where you had a student and a teacher, they had their thing, so to say. And now the teacher was kind of wise in a way where he used a condom, but the girl and the mom was trying to make it to a certain extent of where it was like forced upon. But in all actuality, it was a consensual thing. And now the point I'm getting at is the mom and this girl ended up going through the trash, finding a used condom. Yeah, used condom. And it linked them all together. Okay, the girl, the mom, the teacher, this, that, the third. Now, it destroyed the teacher's career, life, and whatnot. And, that on one hand, that's sad. But on the other hand, this dude knew what he was doing to a certain extent within the show. Yeah. Now the switch gears to get the bag what with the massage parlors, and now I'm gonna be kind of straight about this one. Now, again, going with like themed or movies or TV things of that nature, where if you've ever seen that movie Jacob's Ladder,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well you might know who I'm. I forget the guy's name, but Tim Robbins and this other guy that was in the film. He was also in a bunch of other films like Dinner Rush and what was that Cher movie with Nicolas Cage? Moonstruck. He
Yeah.
played the father of Nick Cage. I forget the actor's name, but he played in Jacob's Ladder and he did Chiropractor. And Jacob's Ladder is kind of one of the movies where you've got to watch maybe once or twice to get the full effect or more. Or, watch it more than one or two times to get the full effect of the movie. And he does chiropractor at Jacob's Ladder. Is like, he mentions in the movie that, it's kind of like hell. Okay. If you die, you go to hell. If you go to hell, you get all this stuff that you had taken off you, burnt off you, or what have you. And then you kind of move up in the ranks. Okay. You go from hell, you go to purgatory, and then you end up in heaven. Kind of like the Divine Comedy by Dante. And, it's one of them things where it's like, I kind of like that in a way. I mean, at least you got a chance to redeem yourself and get out of hell and move up to heaven. You might have to work at it and discard a lot of things that get to that point to be more, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, more pure and honest and real. Maybe there's another way to say it, but in its simplest form, that's what it is. So, I mean, I'm assuming all four of us we're being as real and honest as we can be in our own lives. I know I am. So, I mean, I've really got nothing to worry about. So, it's just one of them things. It's one of them things that I've had on my mind while we've had this discussion. So, that's just me.
Well, Jason, do you still have that banner I sent you about the Dollar Tree and all that upsetting CEO information?
So here's the situation for today's episode. I'm just on my cell phone, so I cannot so that we can create this barbecue and beer and banter ambiance. I can't do any screen sharing or any sort of
okay. All right, no problem.
Now, what it got me thinking though, and because you guys are all YouTube legends, I'll just say it.
Thank you.
Like if what do I sort of what can I do to allow screen sharing, right? I guess I could get a laptop.
I can't screen share when I go live with my phone. Like, in other words, there are certain functions that are allowed on the desktop or a tablet or a laptop that are not allowed on the phone.
Now, previously, when we're live, I'm just using my monitor, which has a built-in webcam on it. I'm just sitting in the dining room. That's sort of where I am. But to allow the barbecue, because this is honestly the first nice day, and I say nice very liberally. It's 30 degrees, but it's not raining. This is the first day it actually hasn't rained in almost a month. It's just been so relentless on a Sunday, right? Because we do the show on Sunday. So, but you're right, James, kind of turning the dialogue. But before we do that, I would like to commend BC. You said a couple things there that really stood out, and I admire that a lot. You said that you're a guy that speaks his mind sort of regardless of the consequences. Maybe I'm filling blanks, right? But that's a very.
I mean, the answer your question, I'll put it to you like this. Okay, now I know a lot of you probably are starting to get to know me, and we don't talk that often. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, that's a great. Now to give you an example, I was at work and we had this new GM come in, and it was, I guess, a matter of difference of opinion. And I'll be the first, and I'm sure the GM will say the same thing, or at least in his own way, where him and I used to get into arguments. I mean, straight up yelling matches with each other about this, that, whatnot, and so on. And, you know, I hate to sound like I don't care, but I do not care. I'm going to tell you what I think, right or wrong. I'm going to tell you what I think.
Yeah.
And, okay, fine. I mean, to a certain degree, okay, if I'm wrong, okay, fine. I'll take my lumps, regardless. But you know what? Like I said, I'm going to be as honest, as straightforward with you as I can be. I mean, it's just one of them things. I'm not saying I'm trying to be like certain individuals that have been on beer review shows and so on and so forth. But you know what? If I feel it's necessary for me to say what I've got to say, I'm going to say it. And, you know, if I'm wrong, tell me. Explain to me how I'm wrong. I'm not, I don't know how to explain that. Blind. You know, I like to see things to a certain way, but if I'm looking at it wrong, okay, fine. Just tell me it's like this, and this. Then, okay, my bad. It's just been a misconception. So, I mean, it's just one of them things.
Well, you're like me. You're very honest and upfront and down to earth, and that's good. That's good. It's very, very rare and genuinely good quality. I want to tell Jeremy Sontag, you're more than welcome to join one of my Facebook groups that I started in 2012. It's called Holistic Health Talk, and I have almost 9,000 members there. And there's a lot of professionals there, so you're more than welcome to join.
Maybe you could post the link here, James.
And contribute, huh?
Post the link, maybe?
Well, I don't.
Oh, yeah, I know you're on the phone. Never mind.
Yeah, well, it'll be like facebook.com/groups/ what did I say? Holistic Health Talk. No spaces. One word.
Oh, so it's one word?
Yeah, Holistic Health Talk. Yeah. Well, that's supposedly we're the only one there. It's if there's another Holistic Health Talk, which I will be upset about, but if there is, I'm the one with the banner that says since 2012. So that's the one. But you're more than welcome to join. You know, I like having professionals on the group, and we talk about nutrition, alternative medicine, natural health, and keeping our immune system strong in this day and age, and through natural means, and so on and so forth. Optimum nutrition, maximize lifespan. So you're more than welcome to come aboard.
James, you brought up something very interesting there through natural means, right? And I think we can all agree that healthcare is actually sick care, right?
Yeah.
And
it's a racket. It's racketeering. Sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's a racket. It's a glorified drug dealer, as in the pharmaceutical industry, and they pay off politicians because they can afford it. And a doctor told me, he was an oncologist. I had gotten a conversation with him. He says, "Oh yeah, when people get radiation treatment, we recommend they don't take antioxidants." I go, "What?" I says, "I thought like antioxidants neutralize free radicals before they can damage the cells of your body. And I always thought that free radical damage is what creates the cancer cell." He says it'll interfere with radiation treatment. And then he says, well, this is providing antioxidants work at all. So
wait. So he's disregarding science?
He's disregarding antioxidants. So I'm thinking, hey, this guy is this. If this guy made this statement, this board certified oncologist made this statement. That means that he's discouraging people from taking antioxidants, which means he is discouraging people from optimal nutrition.
How is he benefiting? You have to wonder, right?
Yeah, considering his statement, considering antioxidants really do work. What do you mean?
He's pushing his treatment on to, but he's not really he's not, I shouldn't put it that way. He's not pushing anything on anybody. He's strongly recommending that you go to me and you get my treatment. I know what I'm doing. Don't listen to anybody else.
In other words, take the drugs I prescribe, get the radiation treatment, and
Yeah.
he's discouraging the validity. He's criticizing the validity or the virtues of antioxidants, which,
as long as you're prescribing exactly what you're supposed to be prescribing and you're not trying to go overboard with that stuff, because there have been a lot of there. I don't know where they've gone so far, but there was a lawsuit that was happening currently that CVS, the CVS Corporation, was getting sued in regards to this opioid epidemic where doctors were prescribing probably right. Every case is different here, but probably what's happening is doctors across the country are prescribing way too much, and as far as the amount of pills and dosages you should be taking of your these medicines, and then according to this lawsuit here, you get CVS and you get these pharmacies that don't look at these prescriptions and say, hey, this doesn't look right. I'm not gonna, and then they go and then they don't go and say, I'm not gonna what's the word? I'm not going to fill this prescription for you. Well, I think in CVS's defense, this is written and signed off by an actual doctor, an actual medical professional. Well, it's got nothing to do with CVS to say yes or no as far as being able to fill that prescription. They have no say in that. They have none.
So basically, the doctor knows what he's doing, so he signed off on it, so they're okay. Basically.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as saying, okay, I went through the legal process to acquire a handgun or something, and now we're gonna blame Smith and Wesson for all of the school tragedies in this country. It's like they're a legal entity, just like CVS is, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing legally. They weren't the ones that CVS, just like Smith and Wesson, weren't, unless I'm wrong here, they're not going into inner cities, or they're not going into various streets around America and saying, you want some drugs? You want some drugs? Smith and Wesson isn't going, you want some bullets? You want some bullets? You know what I mean by that? It's a terrible means that causes this to happen. But we can't just sit here and say the company itself, because it exists, means that it's the exact problem.
Well, yeah, it's humans that point the weapon and pull the trigger.
Yeah.
People have to take personal responsibilities too.
No responsibility personally.
Jason was right.
I've got to agree with Chris Rock on this one, man. I forget which special he did, but he did a special, and it's not gun control laws, okay, to a certain extent, but it's the bullets. You got to do something about the bullets. Now, if each bullet costed, for an example, $1,000, okay, and you got to get a case of bullets or a box of bullets, whatever, however they come in, you're going to have to put that on layaway. And you know what? You know what that counts as, or works out to? You get these guys that are paying this much money for each individual bullet. Now, the cost is going to be astronomical if a box is say $1,500. Now, it cuts down on bystanders, and these guys that do drive-by shootings or what have you are going to be more accurate with that bullet. It's like, okay, if I can afford this bullet, you are gone. This, that, and so on. And I was like, you know what? To a certain extent, I believe that, man. I mean,
if the person that acquired that bullet actually paid full retail for it, right? Then sure, I still feel at the end of the day, and it's sad that you have to even say it, but if there's a will, there's a way to get whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We all aren't looking for that. If there's a will, there's a way to get
Well,
it.
they're through the black
But
market.
it really is.
The criminals will get their weapons through the black market, and that's why the gun control laws. Well, I don't think they'll have any effect on the criminal element.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really think that you're looking at the criminal activity in the like I said with the CVS and the Smith and Wesson example. I really think you're looking at it in the wrong fashion, just saying that it's just bad in general that it even exists in the first place, and then we'll just call it a day on that. Really? No, that's copping out. No pun intended.
Oh yeah.
On the real problem.
Get back.
Could have been mental health. It could have been. Sorry to cut you off there, but it could, like with all these other things that have been happening with school shootings, and like the one that happened recently, was that in Ohio or something? I forget. But most likely, I mean, the 15-year-old sounds batshit crazy, to be completely honest. Sorry to put it that way, but it's like mental health issues are a bigger problem, and will spiral people down into these dark places that they probably never intended to go from birth here. So it's like, why don't we try to solve these problems and make this the priority?
What the sad part is?
An object caused this thing to happen physically,
Yeah,
and that was it.
Oh, let me just say this. Jason was right when he said the doctor was disregarding science, because free radical damage exists, and so does antioxidants. And what antioxidants do exists. It's reality. Right. So that's all I wanted to say. That he has his agenda, his profit-making agenda. These physicians, and that's what they.
The bad physicians and the bad apples out there doing harm to people are the ones that make good people look bad. They give good people a bad rap, like all these things are happening, all these guns.
Well, look at a hospital.
You're a gun owner. That means you're a bad person by default. No.
Hospitals charging insurance companies and Medicare $1 for an aspirin. One aspirin. I can go to the Dollar Tree and get a big bottle of aspirin.
James, that's cheap. So when our daughter was born, the entire hospital stay was north of $100,000. It's ridiculous. And so they would. It's literally listed as a line item. I think like a Tylenol was like $8, and then there was like a charge to administer it. So the nurse gets. Because it's time out of the nurses, they have to account for every minute that the hospital is open and running.
Look at the midwife. The midwives used to come to people's homes and deliver children.
I know.
And now $100,000. Oh my!
100,000. Now she was in the hospital for about 5 days. It was a very long labor, but that was and then they actually had to do a cesarean section. We tried everything.
Yeah, they're always ready to do cesarean sections.
Well, the doctor, in his benefit, he says he's delivered over 10,000 babies, which is remarkable. He was probably a guy in his mid-60s. And he's like, we're going to try everything in our power to do it naturally. And unfortunately, just turns out, right, not to get too deep into it, but her birthing canal is simply just not large enough for the baby's head to
and this is why back in the Middle Ages, think about it, back in the Middle Ages, the mortality rate was very high.
Yeah. You think about it, I mean, I'm sort of sitting here, proof that science and medicine works, because had our case happened maybe even just over 100 years ago, wife and child probably wouldn't have survived, which is just amazing to think about, right?
Yeah.
So,
Pendulum. Is this the most unique, diversified, hardest hitting show on the internet? Yes.
It has to be.
Sweet. And it's all because of us four guys. Woo!
Yeah. And the jabronis that decided not to come on, we don't need them after all. Now I'm very concerned. Is the fart doctor okay? Is he safe?
Probably not.
Didn't Ronnie S say that Fart Doctor was Horn Dog?
Yeah, but Fart Doctor is too intellectual to suddenly come back with a goofy alias like that, with some pencil neck geek image. He's just too smart to do that. I just
I
can't.
know.
Maybe Horn Dog was defending Ronnie S. Profusely to me, and I thought that why would he defend Ronnie S. so passionately unless Ronnie S. is Horn Dog?
What was it?
Ronnie
About
S.
2
Watch,
or 3
you know,
weeks
is there any way
back.
to tell?
Was it who was it that came on Ron's show? God, who was it? The Brewski dude.
Brewski.
Yeah, remember? I think you were there, Ron, when he came on. He just was okay. Sorry, Brewski Dooski or the Brewski dude.
No, I've seen him sober. He's actually a very nice guy. Just
Yeah,
like,
but what I was getting at was that when he came out Ron's show, he was like drunk out of his mind, man. It was like for real.
just like
I mean,
Michael Hill. Michael Hill, he's very articulate. He's very, very nice and intelligent and everything when he's sober. Same thing with Drewski. I saw the both of them that way more than once. Yeah. So
again, sorry, Brewski dude. I mean, I'm just talking here, so don't get me the wrong way.
I think he is another Michigan dude as well.
Yeah.
No, he is. I think he
No, I
lives.
believe he is from Michigan. Yeah,
I think he lives in northern Michigan, near the Upper Peninsula.
Must be one of the Youpers or whatever they
Oh,
call them.
Youpers, yeah. You know, talking about them Youpers, man. You get them guys from the UP. I think I've told Ron this, man, but you know them guys up there call us trolls here in the mitten because we're under the bridge of Mackinac, so we're trolls.
They're the real rednecks.
Trolls like bridges, right?
Yeah, trolls like bridges. Yeah, but it has had double meaning to it, though. You know what I mean?
Well, the homeless don't a lot of homeless people like bridges because it's shelter, right?
Yeah, it's like I know, like I-75. You know how you got the overpass on the main road, and there's like a little section by the bridge of the overpass where there's like a flat section where you can actually sleep and stay out of the weather. But the only main concern is be the wind.
Pigeons like to roost on the bridges also.
Yeah, rafters. Yeah.
Pigeon must be like the cockroach of the bird kingdom.
Oh, they're rats, man. They're flying rats, man.
They're flying rats. They're all over the place, and this is why red-tailed hawks and falcons like to nest near where pigeons are. Like I've seen the nests, not too much here, but in my hometown we had a lot of them. A lot of hawks. And here we have these wild parrots. They're Quaker parrots that flew to coop. They probably didn't like their owners. Maybe their owners were assholes and they flew away. And they all learned to survive. You know, they huddle or they congregate at the top of telephone poles near like the transformer. So they must be getting their heat somewhere. And they nested, they propagated, and now Edgewater, New Jersey is loaded with these Quaker parrots. These
Jesus.
You know, some of the parrots can live up to 100 years, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Well, could you imagine actually having a parrot and saying, "Okay, I'm going to die before the bird does, so here I'm going to leave the parrot in my will to somebody," right?
Right. Yeah. You better hope it's somebody that actually loves parrots. Yeah.
Well, a tortoise lives longer than a parrot. It'll outlive. You know, it's 100 years. You're talking about parrots like 75 years.
You know, you bring up a funny point, James, talking about pigeons. I once saw a show. The guy actually had like a stove that he built in the engine compartment of his car, kind of off the exhaust manifold. So you're taking heat off the exhaust manifold. And the guy would be in search of roadkill. This is a true story. He would be in search of roadkill, and he'd find the roadkill, and he'd dress it and he'd clean it. And then he'd put it in this little oven of his car, and he would drive around the city for like an hour or something to cook it, and then he would eat it. I mean, talk about, that's the ultimate in sustainability, right? You're sort of taking, you know,
That
now,
reminds me of an episode of Seinfeld, man.
When I was watching Mountain Men, you know, the reality show.
Yeah, the History Channel show. Yeah,
those Appalachian guys, they know how to tell which roadkill is edible. And no, they know which roadkill to harvest. And
so the guy actually found in the show it was a squirrel. So I think they're okay to eat, right?
Well, if it's a fresh roadkill, they could tell.
It was fresh, and he had sort of a way to determine, you know, time of kill was less than 2 hours, so it should be okay to eat. That's, you know, like he's a professional, right? You know, kind of like the fart doctor is a professional. This guy's a professional roadkill eater. Right?
Well, he probably knows how to pick mushrooms in a wild.
That would be cool.
But you got to really know your shit about wild mushrooms.
Oh yeah, because some of them out there are be able to kill you.
Oh, they'll kill you.
How about psychedelic mushrooms, right?
Oh, them too.
Illegal in Oregon.
Let me know.
I'm going to tell you something about psychedelic mushrooms, and Jeremy, if you're still here, Jeremy Sontag, psychedelic mushrooms have proven to grow brain cells that were lost by patients. They have been known to regenerate lost brain cells. Also, hyperbaric oxygen chambers are good for that too, but psychedelic mushrooms are very medicinal.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so, you know, I took some magic mushrooms probably about 20 years ago. And, you know, I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. Okay, well, and for me, you know, it wasn't that much of a big deal. I mean, I hate to say it, but I ate them and caked it. And there was a scene where you seen Bruce Lee kind of doing one of these kind of moves, right? And it had a trailing effect with the hands. Like you go like this, and you kind of seen like ghost like figure on my hand. Now you see my hand going like this. Now you see like a ghostly figure on my hand behind my thick, you know, real hand. It was like that was the extent. I was expecting to be like tripping balls, as they would say, of like, you know, some crazy stuff. Now, I'm not saying I did a lot of stuff in my heyday, like when I was in my early 20s, but I remember smoking some. Now, I do not condone this. I'm just saying this is what I did back in the day. And I smoked some weed that was laced with some LSD.
Oh, geez.
And yeah, now I didn't know it was laced at the time. Okay. Now what I'm getting to is I smoked it. I was feeling good, feeling fine, whatever you want to call it. But then I started having this conversation with this black guy. And I knew it was a black guy. And I'm standing there, I'm talking to him, and that's when the LSD started kicking in. And not only was I talking to this guy, okay.
No, I just have to excuse myself for a minute, BC. You want to hold that thought for a sec, or I can come back?
I'll hold the story, yeah.
Hold that thought.
1 minute, time me.
Hold the thought.
Right, I'll keep you to that.
Now, Pendulum, do you think that more people will be allowed, or do you think American citizens in general will be allowed to grow cannabis like they grow tomato plants?
Wow.
Yes. Yes, it's the miracle plant, and now hemp is extremely versatile. Hemp does provide so much. I mean, building material, they call it hempcrete, which is very strong, more durable than a cinder block, than concrete. Plastics, clothing, hemp is more durable than cotton. I wonder where. Oh, what was it? The same? Was it the same evangelical zealot religious freaks that created prohibition? Are they the same ones that outlawed hemp? Yes. Should we physically throw them into Mount St. Helens volcano one by one? Yes. I love it.
As it's erupting, yes.
Well, no, because then we would get burned up too.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay, BC.
Well, we can drop them from a helicopter, so we'll be just fine. So
yeah, helicopter. Oh, speaking of helicopters and volcanoes, Hawaii, the Big Island, is expecting a blizzard of 100-mile-an-hour winds. They already have a foot of snow on the highest peaks.
and you know what the thing that sucks about that though? They have no winter clothing.
Wow. Well, maybe Hawaiians could enter the Winter Olympics now. Maybe they could practice skiing and bobsled riding. And all.
Yeah, but this isn't the highest peaks where probably nobody lives.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mount Hood. You get snow on the cap, but rarely any snow anywhere else, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
Okay, BC.
Oh, back to the story.
Yeah, back to the story.
I'm standing there. I'm having a full-blown conversation with this guy. And that's when the LSD comes on or comes into play. I'm looking to this guy. And I hate to say this, and please forgive me for saying this. His name was Leroy. And, and I'm looking at him. It goes from a black guy to a, get this, an albino lion. Yeah, it was an albino lion. And I was like, oh my God, I'm having a conversation with a spirit animal or something. And, you know, his voice was the same and everything. It was just an albino lion with the mane and everything. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go home, man. For real. Sleep this off, something.
How did you get home, BC?
I ended up getting a ride from somebody from work because I couldn't drive, man, because I would hate to see where I would end up on this stuff, man, for real.
Like, how was that car? I mean, obviously, this was a while ago, right? But how the hell was that car ride? I mean, you must have been tripping, like, seeing all the headlights and the cars and everything. And
yeah, you know, literally, this was back in, like, 95, literally. So it shows you how long ago this was. I was like, you know what? It was one of them things, and I hate to say it, but there's only been 2 times that I've actually tripped balls off of LSD. And it was like a year and a half later where I ended up, again, smoking weed that was laced. And it was me and my 2 cousins. We were watching Pulp Fiction. I don't know if you guys watch Pulp Fiction.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you remember the scene where you got John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in the beginning, or like towards the beginning, where they're walking through the apartment building, talking about doing foot massages and everything and whatnot, right? Okay, well, okay, I'm sitting there, I'm watching it. Again, it kicks in. Now I see Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta with their suits and whatnot, walking through these halls, talking their conversation. And you know what I'm saying? I'm saying John Travolta is a white pig dressed in a black suit like he is in Pulp Fiction. And Samuel Jackson, same thing. He's in a black suit, but he's a black pig, and they're walking on their hind legs, having their conversation. I was like, you know what? This is the last time I'm doing this, man, for real. Because I cannot take this no more. For real.
Now,
I mean, I love the movie, but I cannot take that, man.
how long did this how long did the trip last?
Well, I'll tell you what. I went to sleep after probably maybe 45 minutes after the movie started, and I had this on tape, so I wasn't too worried about it. So I could rewind it and watch it again. So once I woke up, the trip ended. So it was one of them things.
God. Now, I've heard or read or seen somewhere that folks that are suffering from like things like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or any of these other neurological disorders and diseases, LSD may actually help them kind of cope with day to day. Now, small amounts, right? But there might be some sort of benefit to this for those folks, right? But not to mention the fact that it is mind opening. Maybe if you were to sort of be in a controlled environment, right? There was a show called Mad Men. I'm not sure if you guys had ever seen it or heard of it.
The AMC show, yeah.
That's right. And Roger Sterling and his wife Jane.
Now, Roger Sterling is related to Rod Sterling from the Sontag.
That's a good question.
No, his name was Serling, Rod Serling.
Oh, Sterling. I thought it was Sterling. Okay, my
Sterling
bad.
is the silver.
Sterling, yeah, like sterling silver. But anyway, they sort of there's like a doctor that is there with them, and he sort of, they take the LSD and then they all kind of, and he kind of notates or takes notes of what each individual's experience is, so they can kind of be told about their experiences, like what they were telling him and what they were feeling under the sedation of the medication. But I've never done anything like that, but I think that it would be interesting maybe once or twice. You got to say, you got to try it once, right?
I mean, to me, you got to live, man. I mean, maybe our definition of living is different from each four of us. Okay, fine. I mean, you got to get out there, do things, whatever. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, Thomas. Or Eric. I don't mean to put you on blast, but you're a guitarist. You got a rock band. You're out there doing things. Okay. And I'm sure it's the same thing with Jason and the same thing with James. We're all out there doing our things, living our lives, and it's just one of the things. And it's like, hey, but I'll tell you one thing. After that second time, I've never done anything ever since. Nothing.
Would you be opposed to trying it? I mean, I am thinking, right, as a high level experiment, it might be kind of interesting to maybe see what happens and kind of StreamYard it, broadcast it, right? Share your experiences with everybody. Would that be kind of cool?
Man, on one hand, yeah, that could go right in so many ways, but then again, on the other hand, that could go so wrong in so many different ways too. I mean, I'm a beer reviewer, man. I gotta try to keep a good name as far as a beer reviewer goes. You know what I mean? So
that's true. So maybe you put a mask on, like a Halloween mask, and then you put out a new channel, and you just sort of something LSD reviews. Right?
Yeah, but you know what? With YouTube being the way that it is and having the dark web, I'm sure there's a channel out there that does that already somewhere. So it's just a matter of
so many people that do like marijuana strains, like here in Washington State. It's legal to the fact that in less than 5 minutes, I could be in a marijuana shop buying as much marijuana as I wanted. That they would, I think you can take an ounce or so many joints or whatever.
Yeah, so much at one time. Yeah,
8 cartridges, and I mean, it's edibles, ointments, creams. It's insane how just in your face the stuff is, right? And I sort of used to be against it, because I used to work with these guys that would at their I used to work in a warehouse many years ago, and these guys at their like break time or whatever, they go sneak around the back of the building and smoke weed and stuff, and they would just be like glazed eyes and
jeez.
And I kind of looked at like, this is just not
safe
what I want to do.
environment.
Like I could almost see them ruining their life, right? And this is way before this legislation passed that legalized it. But now that it's legal, you can talk to the guy or girl behind the counter, and they call themselves a bud tender, is what they call themselves. And you can say, hey, I'm actually having trouble sleeping at night, or I've got anxiety. I think in the past, it used to be you just go to a guy that sold weed, and that's all he had. Right now, there's so many strains, more regulated and controlled, that you can actually try to narrow down and tweak your ailment for whatever remedy they set. Right? And I think that's actually a good thing. I've seen videos of like I said, Parkinson patients, right? And they're just uncontrollably shaking, and then they take some marijuana, and then within a half hour they're not shaking anymore. It's amazing what the benefits of this can do, and it is natural, right? So kind of looking at the herbal remedy, it is a natural remedy. But I think that if it's abused, in my opinion, it's a bad thing. But
it is strange. It is strange, though, that one of the main proponents for marijuana is it grows in the ground. It's natural. It must be good for you. We just talked about mushroom hunting a couple of minutes ago. There are plenty of mushrooms that you should not be taking. They're natural, growing in the goddamn ground. That's not a good enough excuse. I'm for legalization of marijuana, but that's not a good enough excuse saying because it grew in the ground that it's natural. It's good. It's good for you. No, not everything is, people. Don't just eat the ground.
Yeah.
No.
I gotta agree with Eric on this one. Some things are good for you, some things are bad. And for me, okay, little tidbit, yes, I'm throwing it out there. I grew up in Ecorse, and it's a hood environment. I can't tell you how many times that I've seen people smoking weed. Okay, that's their business. I'm not going to preach. Do you. Okay, I'm going to do me. However, okay. And, I know a lot of people that suffer from depression. And I hate to say it, but they self-medicate with marijuana. And, okay, fine. I know marijuana is one of them happy, make-you-go-lucky type of drugs. And, if you want to do that, fine. Hey, if it makes you a better person for maybe smoking a little bit, being a happier person than what you were 20 minutes ago, hey, I hate to have a Danny Downer, man. You know what I mean? But you know what? I'd much rather interact with somebody that's a little bit more chippy or happy than being.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. And we have a lot of depression in my family for many years and many across many family members. And I don't know if I so much, all the medications that these folks are on just to function, right? The long-lasting effects of this stuff. To your point, BC, you take a few puffs and you feel good about things.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not so bad than all these medications you got to be on for your whole life. I don't know.
Well,
and then you get some of them that you like these, what is it, opioids, where it can go drastically wrong. I mean, I don't wish any ill will on anybody. And, these guys, I mean, maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but it's just short of maybe taking meth. And it's like, once one starts, it kind of leads to this whole thing. Yeah. And, but I have seen people that smoked and stayed smoking and they've never touched nothing else. And, hey, more power to them, man. Hey.
Now St. John's wort, a standardized extract of St. John's wort is particularly good for depression.
Huh.
That's good for, that's an antidepressant?
Yeah. St. John's wort is the herb. How
many times have you been watching television? I don't know if the time of the day really matters either. Just count the amount of these medical ads you see for all these different drugs or whatever.
Yeah. I'm bombarded. Every time I watch TV, I'm bombarded.
Eric, I hate to say that in a half-hour program, maybe 2 to 3 times during that half-hour program.
Don't
and
take
that's
the
at the
3
breaks that they have in the show. Yeah.
And what about the sentimental songs they play during the drug commercial? Like they show happy families
Yeah, they make it look like all rainbows and unicorns and whatnot.
coming out of
in the
their ass,
commercial,
you
yeah.
know, tiptoe through the tulips, and yeah, they're all happy and you know, come on, it's far from the truth.
I know, but I suppose
with new color. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's just, it's like that. What the hell is that drug? God, it's one of them drugs where it's like fentanyl. I think it's fentanyl, but I could be wrong. But it's like you could get so much of it and still die. And it was like, what the hell's going on here, man? I don't get it.
Sounds about right. I know you.
Remember the first drug commercials? The first drug commercials, they didn't have the sentimental music and the happy families dancing around. They had the disclaimer at the end. Blah, 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 and possible side effect death. You know, like, blah, 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 you know,
like depression, high blood pressure, weight gain, suicidal tendencies, diarrhea. It's like, come on, man.
Irritable bowel syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Fleet Enema commercial.
Oh yeah, the Fleet
dancing around.
Yeah, because they're so light on their feet, right? You're light on your feet with Fleet, right?
You're light on your
guard, Cola guard, or whatever.
No, they have this old man with the golf clubs. Like he looks like Michael Comroff.
Somebody said in the Scout Sunday, they said they want Michael Comroff to do a YouTube channel. I second that person.
I told him I'll put his Thursday event on live. It's unique. I'm telling you.
You told us all about that, or maybe even get him on Progressive Discussions. His voice, his demeanor, and his
it'll go over huge. But I think his wife doesn't want to go for it because
probably not. She would never be on it.
Ronald Theriot was telling me he's got to listen to his wife interjecting. She's not too shy about giving her opinion.
No, he's always doing the Stout Sunday. I don't know what his wife does on Sunday mornings, but he's always doing it before the wife is even around during the day. And it's like, oh, I gotta get off. The wife is almost like, he's so worried about that wife interrupting the beer time with the boys.
Look, I'm probably in the same boat, rowing the same oar that Michael Kameroff is on, right? And James, we've talked many times on WhatsApp. Like, I can't buy any more beer until I finish what's in the fridge. So, that's sort of one of those things. But you're right. You get up, you slave away. And I said, yeah, I want to go live outside with these guys on Sunday. Well, how long is that? I don't know, about 3 hours. So I'm taking 3 hours out of like 160 hours out of the whole week. You
don't spend enough quality time with me.
I'm married to you. Isn't that quality time?
Give me some space. Why you all in my ass? I don't get it.
Look, if you're married, you're spending. I mean, every waking moment. I mean, practically if you're not. Look, it's not healthy to be crawling up each other's ass if you're in a serious relationship.
That's a shitty thing to do, James.
What?
That's a shitty thing to do.
No, it's like, what's the old saying? Familiarity breeds contempt. Fondness makes the heart grow fonder.
Well, I like the whole absence. Absence.
Yeah, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Absence.
Not absinthe, BC.
Absence.
My bad.
No, abstinence makes the schlong grow fonder. Boing.
So, James, are you going to have a sip of that stuff?
He said many sips.
Has he had many? Sorry, I need to get a bigger screen. I'm looking at you guys. It looks like looking at a dice on a craps table here. I can't even hardly see what's going on.
Quick review, James. Well, how's that thing in a nutshell taste?
Well, it's almost gone, and I would say that probably vodka or gin is the only practical hooch that you can use for fruit infusions.
Or what about like grain alcohol, grain spirits?
Well, or moonshine? Yeah, clear moonshine.
Anyways,
Alcohol, like the hillbillies say, alcohol.
Well, yeah.
Now,
James, do you want to get a live look and see how that chuck roast is?
We're going to get a bird's eye view because your dinner's almost ready. And
we're going to take a quick look here.
Going to shake, rattle, and roll. Going to shake. You don't spend enough quality time with me.
Oh my God, that's got a nice bark and crispy crust.
Yeah, so there we go.
Bark, man, look at that. Hey, BC, look at that bark.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
What's the temperature on that now?
Oh,
so this is at the grill temperature was at 270. Can you guys see that?
Yeah. Yes, 259. Yep.
It's at 176 internal. So we're probably pretty close to maybe getting this thing in the
saucy areas.
In the little saucy thing and kind of getting it all set up there.
So what is that called, Jason? Is that called a rectal thermometer for meat?
It's a probe. You're close. It's a probe.
Okay.
That is
that's
actually
his
quite
thing.
funny.
I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna go outside and check out my
now we're gonna check the
loin.
You're the fruit of my loins.
I think Eric Hartman knows what that device is with the thermometer. It's a probe.
Eric Cartman, when you ever see Eric Cartman when he has the runs, when he has diarrhea, like it projects.
He shits out a satellite.
The satellite comes out of his ass. I remember that.
That was like one of the first seasons where that happened, like in the late 90s. Whoa, look at that.
Whoa, let's get a bird's eye view of that there.
Oh, that's looking good.
Oh, BC.
Bacon wrapped, right? Bacon wrapped pork.
Oh, no, it's not bacon wrapped this time. No. I figured since I was going special with the apples, I figured I'll leave it. And with the butcher's twine, I don't want to kind of like mess that up, so I just left the bacon alone. Now, if I leave the pork loin as is, and then I'll put bacon on it. But since it has the stuffing and the butcher's twine, I'm not putting bacon on there. But this is what we got right now.
Ah, very delightful.
BC, that looks excellent.
So I'm gonna turn this around a little bit so it kind of works. And it almost fell off.
Be careful. That's a work of art. Be careful.
So, yep. Yep, there we go. Got that on there. Got my tray. And we're going back inside. Come on, Rocket.
All these jabronis. Now, all these jabronis that try to do live stream. Who does this that like we do? And
nobody. This is why this is the kindling that this channel needs to ignite it on fire. This thing is going to go coast to coast, nationwide, all the way into orbit on Bozo's next rocket, right?
Listen, Bozo Bezos with his phallus dildo shaped spacecraft to match his head.
You know, I was talking to James, and forgive me if it seems like I'm out of line for saying this, but me and James were talking about this. And me personally, I was telling him, I was like, we've got the perfect panel right here, man. You know what I mean? And it's like we've got 4 dudes having 4 different maybe opinions, but we kind of share some of the same opinions. And we kind of
like rack and pinion steering.
Yeah. And it's like, we all come together, we doing our thing, and it's like, you know what? In my experience with this panel here, there is no ill will. It's like we get along so well. And you know what? That's what makes it awesome. I mean, I enjoy doing this, man. I
do too. Cheers, brother.
Well, cheers. Yeah. And nothing's planned. It's all ad-libbed. They're getting education. They're getting comedy. They're getting cooking.
Getting real life true stories from us.
True stories.
Lessons.
Politics.
Just everybody here.
Dating.
Now hang on, BC. What is that? That looks excellent.
I'm doing Two Hearted Ale now by the Bell's Beers now. Now, it's kind of like what you were getting at earlier about how you got to get through the miscellaneous beers that you've done on previous shows, and you're getting rid of what you got. This is what I'm doing today. I'm getting rid of all the beers that I had extra on previous shows. So, and that's what I'm doing. So, this is what it looks like. I'm getting about a finger and a half worth ahead on this one. So, cheers.
Cheers to you. That
Looks
looks
fantastic.
really good. I like his beer glasses.
Yeah, I like that beer glass, BC, because it's almost like a tulip, where it sort of is larger at the mouth than it is at the
At the bottom, yeah. See, yep.
Where'd you get that?
I got that at Dollar Tree. I ended up getting 5 of them. Now I only got 2 left.
You know, they sell the tulip whiskey glasses that Jason mentioned, the tulip shape.
Oh, I have no idea. I bought this maybe about a year and a half ago. So I don't know if they've got that now or not. I don't know.
I've seen it. They also, that's where I got my really thick, fancy wine glass. And me and Jay Terrio.
Like the etched, kind of like the it's got a lot of crosses and notches in it, right?
Yeah, it's very cut faceted. It's thick and heavy. He got one and I got one at the Dollar Tree.
Oh, is it? Did he get that when he came up to visit you?
No, he got it in Louisiana at the Dollar Tree, and I got mine up here.
Oh, okay.
Jay has a nice collection of glassware that he's purchased at various garage sales and flea markets and things like that. That's a great place to go find, like authentic Schlitz glasses and Pabst Blue Ribbon or whatever, kind of old barware, right?
You know who has a fantastic collection of liquors and glassware is the Whiskey Scout from Kansas. The Whiskey Scout.
That's another gentleman who has a fantastic voice. You could almost listen to him just read any book.
Yeah, it's like on Facebook, I'm on a couple of fan pages. Well, I'm on several fan pages or groups, what have you. Okay, I'm on like 6 alcohol groups, and I'm on like 3 or 4 different music groups. And one of them is, okay, if you died, who would you want to read your eulogy or narrate your life? That's what it was. Who would you want to narrate your life? Now, some of them said, like James Earl Jones. Great voice. Love the voice. Darth Vader. But then again, it's Darth Vader. Every time you hear James Earl Jones, you think of Darth Vader. I don't want to be that predictable. And, to me, as far as like if somebody's going to narrate my life, who would I want that to be? I swear to God, the one person I want to do that is Peter Weller. Now, if you guys don't know who Peter Weller is,
he's RoboCop.
Yeah, he's the original RoboCop. Yeah. Now, he has a great voice to me. Now, for as much as I love Kurt Russell, as far as voices go, Peter Weller is the guy for me. And I've actually watched him on, the History Channel. And he did like some sort of like history stuff. And he would be there narrating this, that, and whatnot. And he'll be standing at these different sites talking about this, that, and the third. And, I was just so captivated by just listening to him talking about these different things. And he actually became a professor of history in California. And You know what? I would be one of them guys. They would sign up for the class just to learn history from this guy, just on his voice alone. So, I mean, movie star status aside, that voice is like the best to me, bar none.
That's an interesting question, BC. I don't think anybody's ever, certainly no one, I would say not anybody, no one has ever asked me that question. I'd be curious to hear who you would want, although James just went to the Piranha. Maybe I'll ask. I certainly like Robert Redford. I think has a very good voice.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
And because have you ever seen the movie A River Runs Through It? Did you ever see that movie?
Actually,
Brad
no, I
Pitt?
never have. No.
You never have. Okay.
Wait a minute. Is that the
Um,
one where he's fly fishing?
That's right.
Okay, yeah, then I have seen it. Yeah,
You have seen it. So Brad Pitt
yeah.
is in there, and a couple of other rather famous, although I can't even name them. But Robert Redford is kind of the narrator in that movie. So, but obviously, you look at a guy like Morgan Freeman is another one of those sort of
Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah.
good one. But Peter Weller, I'll be honest with you, BC, and I'm going to have to check this out. I had no idea that he's done work on the History Channel. Because I know that when he was in RoboCop, that's kind of his claim to fame, so to speak, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what he's most known for. Yeah.
He did the
Is
first
the
one.
original RoboCop.
Yeah. Now he's
And
got
he
to be
only did the first and second RoboCop. Now the
right.
third one, he wasn't a part of that.
Have you seen the new one that came out like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer?
Yeah, but the only thing I liked about that was the Ed 209 or the Enforcement Droid 209.
Right.
That was
right.
about the only thing that I was really impressed by. So
I thought that I can't even remember the name of it. It came out 5 years ago, maybe. I thought it was okay. And I'm sort of not one of these. I like the old school RoboCop, right? And the second one, I think, is also just as good. Where you got that guy Kane.
Name, right? Kane. Yeah, the bigger cyborg, for lack of a better word for it. Yeah, and I thought that was so ironic that you would get a drug dealer as a law enforcement droid. You know what I mean, or whatever you want to call that.
Like took his brain out of his body when he died, and then they put it in that robot, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant
and then
Ninja
they
Turtles.
that fight the towards the end in that OCP building, and it's like RoboCop was in the hold on to the elevator, and he shot the cable, so the elevator shot to the roof, and then you look down, and then you see Kane in that big robot outfit just crawling up the elevator shaft. It was just crazy, man.
Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like temperatures dropped here. My goodness, it's cold, but it feels good to be outside. I've been looking forward to this show all week. First and foremost, to hang out with you folks and anyone in the chat and anyone that's watching. But it's just also a day where it's not raining. I mean, you guys, hopefully it hasn't been this dreadful and dreary where you are, where it's just rained every freaking day, man.
Not that bad, but it rains, but not as bad as what you get in the Pacific.
Yeah, now it's raining out where I'm at right now. That's why I'm sitting inside instead of outside. So that's why I'm doing my barbecue outside and I'm sitting inside.
Nice.
You got a really cozy. I like that the gothic look of the thick fog and the rustic pines and all that. And,
it is nice looking. Yeah. It was the other day. It was, I forget, was it Thursday? Maybe it was into the. I think it was into the low 60s here in southeastern Massachusetts. So we had one final hurrah of what I'm calling is being kind of not very typical weather in 2021 in the fall and in the late. I mean, the late summer obviously is hot, right? In August it's hot, but I felt like the entire month of, I couldn't remember on record another in my lifetime. I've only been on this earth 33 years, but I can't remember another year like this year where October was that warm. October was strangely warm. There were a lot of 70 weather days where I was.
It was.
It was nice. I was digging it.
I mean, the leaves didn't turn color here until after the first week in November.
Yeah, it took a little bit longer. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. But he, Jason's actually BC has a fire pit too, but it's a standard wood burning fire pit.
I think it's time to.
Yeah. And it's further out from the house too, so it's more in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's time to bring your dinner inside and.
No. So
Base-
this is going to be interesting. Can you
Okay.
guys? So we're going to. So the plan for this, and this is again, this is not a very well produced show, as Ronnie S would say. But we're going to try my best. I'm going to hold this.
Why? What's wrong with it? It's well. Oh, you're talking about
Then
the
again, how many shows have
Yeah.
Ronnie S done on his own?
Ronnie
Ronnie
S.
S, but still.
Struck out. He struck out.
Here's what we're going to try to do here.
I gave
Okay.
him so many chances, and he struck out. Forget about him.
We're
All
going
right.
to
Forget
move
about
this
it.
Hey, forget about it.
We're gonna. So here's what we're gonna do here, right? See if you can. Okay, there we
I
go.
see
Yeah.
it. I see it.
So what we're not gonna put this in here just yet, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, and this is the first time I've done this. This is no recipe, right? Which is, my wife would even say, "How do you cook so well without a recipe?" This is kind of what I like to.
Is
How
that
I like
evaporated milk? Oh no.
This is a can of beef broth.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So
Yeah. they got
again, this is no recipe.
Yeah.
So
Now-
this is
now
a can.
beef broth. Now Trader
broth.
Joe has the beef broth with the bone broth in it.
Oh, that's a good point. I need to
Yeah.
get. So BC, this is a cheers to BC.
Oh, the
Sam
Sam Adams. What is that?
Yeah,
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. Okay, yeah, I've done that beer. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers,
Yeah,
BC.
well,
I thought of you when I had this in the fridge. This is another one of those fridge beers that needs to be used. Well, I'm using the fridge beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at that. Nice.
Wow.
So
Oh, nice.
then we're gonna put in. These are This is like a highly produced show, right? This is an onion and 2 peppers and some butter, which is hopefully
Oh,
not
wow.
gonna.
Notice that he put the butter on top so it goes in the bottom.
Oh,
With the liquid.
That's right.
Oh, wait, it's all right. One onion. It's all right.
No, I got it.
onions. Yeah.
I got it.
All right. Then you're gonna put the meat on top of that, right?
Well, eventually, this is gonna kind of render down here. We're actually gonna maybe.
He's
kick
gonna
this up a
cook
notch.
that vegetables down while the meat
That's right.
cooks. And then
And
he's
here,
gonna
too,
use it maybe as a topping for the meat. Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite barbecue sauce,
Is
Stubbs
that- So we're just
Yeah,
gonna pour this in.
of Memphis, Tennessee. Stubbs.
So this is just gonna go right in. This will all cook.
Oh, interesting.
And then the plan for this is that the roast. So once this is probably about an hour, we'll put the roast in here, and then it'll kind of braise in this for about an hour, and we'll hopefully try. I don't know what time it is. Well, hopefully we'll try to eat here by 4:00.
Mhm.
So now we'll close the lid on that. We'll come back and check on that here. We're going to open this up. Here's the temperature on the probe number 2 is the meat, and probe number 1 is the barbecue.
The flame or the heat. Yeah.
We're going to just open this up a little bit here to get a little bit more flame going. So this kind of.
You got that right.
So yeah, we'll be back in. I'd say we'll be back in an hour, James. If you could, or maybe 45 minutes. We'll check on those.
Wow, you got
Vegetables
this
and
down.
everything.
You got this down to a science.
You know, this is what I like about James, man. I don't know. I don't know what made me say that, but this is what I like about Jason. You know, we've got kind of maybe Eric too, but we've got kind of a passion for cooking, and it was like, you know, we might have our own styles about going about it, but you know what? That's good. I like that. That's interesting. I enjoy that. So,
And this is not like a something. This is not a family recipe or anything that I've ever seen online. I just thought I've got because the price of brisket, and I sent James a picture yesterday. Steak is $30 a pound in this area. It's out of control.
man.
So this chuck roast is about a 3-pound chuck roast, and it was on sale. I got it for about $21, which I think is still expensive, $8 a pound for chuck roast. But so, and you sort of read. I've done a lot of these sort of things where you kind of braise meat to make it taste better. Think of like a slow cooker type of a thing, where
like
we're going
you would do
to
for
down
beef
all those.
too,
And what my plan is eventually is I've got some cheese and some nice rolls, and the plan is to then toast the rolls. We'll serve this kind of on, and it's like a sandwich is the plan here. And hopefully this will all be done. James, I know you like to cut off at about 3 hours. That's the plan. Hopefully in 3 hours we'll be eating a sandwich. That's the goal.
Well, if I get because I'm gonna have organic whole wheat fusilli with white clam sauce. That's my dinner time.
That sounds fantastic.
That's a grillable. Right?
Yeah. And, for those that don't know what fusilli, it's like a corkscrew.
Fusilli. No, I don't know how to say it.
Corkscrew, like what time. What do you call?
Put some Parmesan on it.
Yeah.
Get some mozzarella.
Time Jerry Stiller accidentally sat on the fusilli what do you call ornament that Kramer made for him. I think it was fusilli Jerry. That's right. And he accidentally
okay. Sorry to interrupt, but that brings me back to what Jason was saying earlier about the squirrel and the heat, and that he had to drive like around for a little while for that meat to cook. You know, it reminded me of that one episode of Seinfeld where Kramer borrowed Jerry's car and he went to like a bulk store, like a Sam's Club or something. And he ended up getting like a take-a-bake pizza, threw it into the engine compartment of the car so he could cook the pizza. Dude, come on. You can only dream that up in a sink out for real. And it's like you had grease and cheese all over the engine, man. But we had to keep the engine looped up, man. Come on, man.
Well, the rule of thumb on Seinfeld is never take advice from Kramer. Never take advice from Kramer.
Oh, you know, it was funny that he was. What was that? He never worked that entire time on the show. He was like on strike the entire time.
No, he's on strike the whole show.
Yeah. So
almost anything and everything can remind you of at least one Seinfeld episode. I bet out there.
That's a good point.
Or the Simpsons,
like
maybe.
No soup for you.
I was watching the episode when Jerry and Elaine went to visit his parents in Del Boca Vista in Florida in the condo complex, and that's when Jack Klumpus gave him his pen that writes upside down, you know, the astronaut pen, and you know, Jerry kept admiring it, so he says, "Take the pen. I want you to have it. Take the pen." But he really didn't want to give it up, and and his father had a big argument with him during the banquet that they had, or whatever the hell it was, to honor the condo president, Morty Seinfeld. They had a big fight. He took my son's pen, you know, they went back and forth. It's like when he bought him a Cadillac, and he thought that that Morty was stealing funds from the condo. That's why he had a Cadillac.
Yeah, excuse me. Here, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Job duties.
Okay. You guys ever watch? You know who Tracy Morgan is?
Yeah.
Okay. He's a comedian from SNL.
He was in a bad accident in a limo.
Yeah. Well,
did he get
the
into
point
an
I'm
accident
getting
with a Walmart truck too? Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
He did like a skit of James Bond, and he was trying to talk like he was going to be the next James Bond, and it was like, yeah, I know it's hilarious to begin with, yeah, and he's talking about pins like you were talking about, and it's like, okay, you see this pin I got here right now? Yeah, I'm going to be the next James Bond. What makes you the next James Bond? I got this pin. See this lady on the pin? Yeah, turn it upside down. The girl on the pin, the clothes come off, kid. It was like, it's so hilarious, man.
Yeah, I knew this guy from when I was 18. I first started going to dance clubs. This guy had a cigarette lighter that looked just like a real Derringer. you know.
Oh
pistol.
yeah, the gun. Yeah.
He used to go over to all the women and light their cigarettes with the Derringer.
Oh,
And
bam.
he was a goofball. Though. I named him the smooth operator because that's what he was doing. He'd be lighting. In those days, people could smoke in restaurants and diners and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The good old days.
well, not for the non-smokers.
Good old days.
Yeah,
The
but then again, you had a lot of smokers back then too. So I mean, the non-smokers were far and few between.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There was well, you know, the early days of Hollywood, going from the silent movies into the talkies, the 1920s, 1930s. You had all these female actresses, these starlets with the cigarette holder. It was glamour.
Oh, yeah.
They had the long cigarette holder with the cigarette at the end. But you know, people really didn't know. They didn't know what the tobacco companies were doing, spiking the tobacco. You know, it's not like a pipe or what the Indians used to smoke.
A peace pipe, yeah.
Peace pipe or a good quality cigar, you know, where you got the best tobacco going into it. It was a disco. So we're gonna have a pow wow, smoke peace pipe, smoke the peace pipe.
Well, and what was that other one? Coyote? No, not
Oh,
Coyote.
peyote?
Yeah, peyote. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I had somebody that was talking to me about that. I was like, you ever had peyote? No, I've never had that, man. I was like, man, that'll get you so jacked up. I was like, for real? And I was like, yeah. I was like, man.
You know,
Not that I look for it, but
the
hey.
Native Americans used to use that. The shamans used to use that in order to see the spirit world, in order to see supernatural spiritual beings. They had to do the peyote, put them in a trance in order to see the other world.
Yeah, it's like what do they call that? A spirit walk?
Yeah. No, it was actually part of their rituals.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's in fact, I saw that on the Skinwalker episode.
Water Ranch?
Not Skinwalker. Well, it was Skinwalker Ranch, but it was Ghost Adventures where Zach Bagans was.
They went over there too.
Yeah, and I was watching. I used to talk to him a lot on Twitter, private chat. The exorcist Bishop Brian from the Ghost Adventures, and he does mass. And he was on live, so I put it on my page.
Interesting.
My mysticism page. But anyway, yeah, so he did an episode at the Skinwalker Ranch in I think it's Utah.
Now, did you say Skinwalker or Skywalker?
No, Skinwalker Ranch. No, it's there's a kind of a demon.
It's in Utah, yeah.
It can shapeshift. Well, all evil spirits can shapeshift.
Yeah, I hate to throw this one out, but I used to watch Supernatural, and they used to delve into this type of thing, like ghosts and demons and skinwalkers and whatnot. And in one of the early episodes, they used to talk about skinwalkers, and it was like, it's just crazy where it's like, according to that show, it'd be like the, what is that? The Donner Party, where they would be trapped and they ended up turning into cannibals, and that's how you became like a skinwalker or whatever. And I was like, for real? And I was like, this is crazy how you get some of these legends out of these horrific past expeditions that they used to have in American history.
Well, the Sasquatch, they're all over the world. They just have different names. And
like the Yeti and whatnot.
Yeti and all kinds of names. The Yowies of Australia. But the point is that the videos of these cryptic creatures are getting more vivid and clear. and
Yeah.
from everybody, from people's phones, and and they're really very detailed. So it's
Unlike
interesting.
that one where you got that from like 35 millimeter camera where you see it walking, and everybody's seen that footage where it's like going across like a little field and it kind of turns back the looks.
No, it's not. It's not a true animal. That was definitely a costume, and somebody put that thing on, and somebody made those motions and walks. They already debunked that one actually that's what that was. Yeah.
They think
so it's kind of like somebody threw a Chewbacca suit on and
basically,
they think it could be alien. They could be from another dimension. It's just amazing. Well, now they have drones. They have drones with the night vision cameras, and I mean,
crazy.
there's no reason why they can't track anything down with the drones and the high tech video device.
Yeah. I mean, 30 years ago, man. Yeah, if you would have said to me that we would be having drones with night vision and that typical everyday life, I would have been, whatever, man, whatever. It'd be like having flying cars today. I mean, it's one of them things where you just think it's not going to happen. But, I mean, some technologies just develop faster than others. So, hey.
The nanotechnology really boosted the progression of everything. And they feel that reverse engineering from alien crashes contributed to all this rapid increase in technology.
You'll never, Jason, you'll never know either way if that actually happened, because governments across the world will never, ever tell you if reverse engineering of some otherworldly technology ever happened. And I would think primarily because I don't even think that we're necessarily worried about a panic. I think we're worried about one country has technology, and another country potentially does not. And we don't want, say, the United States. We don't want Japan, or not Japan. This is not the 40s anymore. We don't want China. We don't want Russia. We don't want North Korea to know that we have this technology, or for them to actually know where we got it from, or potentially we don't want them to be alluded to the fact that this stuff is around and we're doing stuff with it, because that's a matter of national security right there. We want to protect people.
Absolutely, 1,000% agree with you. To your point, I mean, there absolutely has to be something else out there, right? I mean, I guess believe what you will, but the fact that, like, there's a very smart man. His name was Bob Lazard, and he actually used to work at Area 51, and he's done many interviews. And the stuff that he talks about, I mean, it's so, it's almost hard to make up the facts that he's relaying in these interviews to say, well, let's say you throw out half of what he has to say.
Yeah.
Half is BS. Well, the other half is, how can you make that stuff up, right? You're sort of left to, I mean, the fact that you just mentioned they're reverse engineering drones and I mean, but you can't let on to these other countries that's how you got this stuff, right? You kind of have to keep everything just a military secret,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want
the public do. I mean, I think they've actually acknowledged, the government or some agency has actually acknowledged, there is something else out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so much of it remains classified, and of course nobody's ever going to talk about it because it's so it goes against the mainstream media narrative, right? But because everybody that says, oh, you believe in aliens or spacecraft or any of these other things, they just think you're a lunatic and stuff. But I guess if enough facts come out there, then who knows? Maybe this stuff is really true, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
until it comes live right out in the open, and you can't refute the fact that stuff is flying around potentially. Then we get, and until that time, I think I agree with you on that no one's ever going to come out in the open and just say, "Yep, this is what happened. Here's the story," right? Or here's the story of how it came to be in modern times, as far as it being documented, and as far as us knowing it.
Right.
Yep, that's what I think. It's got to start flying around for us to know about that stuff. And a lot of these things that are happening right now, I think, are a lot of the stuff that was happening in like maybe the last year and a half, when you're hearing about these triangular shaped objects and they were flying around in the middle of the night. There's actually legitimate United States, I don't know if it's the Air Force, but there's actually legitimate testing of different kind of vehicles that fit the bill of what this thing is to a effing T.
Yes.
Pardon my French, but there's stuff that's going on that fit to a T what you are seeing. So a lot of the time you can be explained to what something is by an actual project going on. Now, the other side of the coin is just to say, I think, just to say that we deny that it's actually happening, isn't anybody saying we deny that it's of origin from the planet Earth. They're not saying it one way or the other. They're not saying it's not from planet Earth, and they're not saying that it actually is from planet Earth. No one's saying any of that. They're protecting everybody from some. But what I hope is they're protecting you from some other country that may want to do you some harm by understanding that this is out there.
Yeah. Because could you imagine
most of the time?
Imagine the mass hysteria that if they said, look, we have identified a population that of something that lives a year of our travel time away, right? Our current technology, it would take us a year to get to that civilization.
Yeah.
You know, but who knows how long it takes for them to get to our civilization? It could be a matter of hours, days, or something less than a year, right? How crazy
would be able to understand that. Yeah.
You know, we already know who our enemies are, right? They're sort of known.
Yeah.
Although terrorism, you know, you sort of that's a tough one there, especially domestic terrorism. But you know, as far as countries and stuff, who are your allies, who are your enemies? But could you imagine foreign life? That would be, my goodness. I think you would have hysteria. People would be extremely scared.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to kind of keep that stuff from ever coming out. Until you have, you know.
I mean, panic at the idea that alien life from other galaxies are visiting, or decide the very people are already video recording in good quality video too, a very clear UFOs.
Well, I hate to interrupt this discussion, but my Farcoin is done.
Oh, let's
yeah.
Oh, let's see that, BC.
Oh, there's BC. Let's talk beer. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Let me see. Oh, there we go, right there. Yep.
BC's loin review. BC's loin review.
BC loin reviews. That's the fruit of his loins.
Oh, the apple.
So yeah, there we go, right there. Yeah, that boy is looking good. I'm gonna try to take a slice off of this boy, see what it's like.
Yeah. I tell you, that pizza I had was pretty lackluster. Not very great pizza. Nope. I'm gonna save it, but it wasn't that good.
I just, certain toppings just don't go on a pizza.
No, that barbecue pizza just went right the hell through me. It just, ugh.
Got a piece off of it.
There we go.
I like to stay with the traditional toppings.
Yep, the Italian toppings.
No pineapple, nothing crazy. How's the smoked loin?
Yeah,
I'm with you.
This one is so good. I think the only one that might beat me is Jason on this one.
Oh,
so,
yeah, man.
Yeah, this one is, excellent. I'll give this a 10. If I could go Spinal Tap or 11, I would.
Nice. It's not dry, is it?
No.
Good. Pork loin can get dry.
Yeah, but he smokes it with
Got the apple in there. That kept in the onion. Hopefully, kept it from getting dry.
And the stuffing, yeah.
Stuffing. Whoa, yes, yeah, man. That sounds good. Good shit there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that little piece I had was so good, so moist.
The guy knows how to cook, dude.
You
BC
know,
everything.
I would love to have you guys over and do like a session or whatever you want to call it.
We'll beam over. We'll beam over right now. Teleportation.
Line busy. What the hell? I don't know if that's the.
Now, James, another thing that's interesting is this idea that Elon Musk has that we can all travel underground at the same speed as aircraft do in the air, right? And you have these, and I think that's part of what his tunnel boring company is trying to do is you essentially travel underground with zero. I mean, well, this is his theory, zero risk, because there are plane crashes and weather and all these other things that keep planes from flying and traveling safely. But you would essentially be able to go from where I am outside of Seattle to where BC is, and I could be there in 4 hours underground, right? Think about that.
Yeah, I hate to keep referring to movies, but one of my favorite movies is Escape from New York. And
Kurt Russell, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
Ox Baker, the wrestler Ox Baker was in it.
Yeah. And they actually had a subway system like from LA, and they were going somewhere towards the East Coast. And it was like one long subway line. And I just thought it was funny back then. And like, I forget what year they set it in, but I think it was like the late 80s, early 90s. And it was just ironic to see.
Well, yeah, they I don't know who it is, but it's reported that there is enough technology out there that we could possibly now, if it's like what the speed of light is, right? If we can even go 1% of that, which is something like 7 million miles an hour, supposedly there's different kinds of technology that can get humans to be able to move at 7 million miles an hour. But my problem with any of this and any of these high-speed traveling and that high-speed traveling like that through outer space or the interstellar airwaves or whatever you want to call it, my only problem with that is how do you control what you're doing? How do you control and maneuver this vehicle properly and move around space debris and junk and asteroids and not shred your whatever vehicle you're in to smithereens? How do you not shred it all up? How do you go through space without being able to see before a split second notice? Oh, I have to go this way. I got to go that way. How do you do that?
Well, I mean, as a Star Trek fan, I can tell you this right now. And they've got what they call a deflector dish in the front of the ship. And it's kind of apparent in the original series.
It's called like a wind sail or a sun sail or something.
And this deflector dish is kind of what it implies. It kind of moves everything to the side. So it forces a pathway to wherever you're going. So you don't have to worry about asteroids or space junk or what have you. It just this deflector dish just moves everything out of the way to wherever you're going.
Let's talk about space junk for a minute, because we're like the biggest polluters in space, right? I mean, all this garbage and all these other rocket boosters and everything, they just kind of you just let it go, right? Like, what happens to that stuff?
Well, initially, the school of thought was, okay, all that space junk would come down and burn up in the atmosphere as it came down on the Earth. But then again, a lot of that space junk never did. It just hung out there in space. And, just kind of shows you the school of thought and the carelessness that they had back then. At the time, they didn't know that they were careless. It was just a school of thought at the time. But now, with so much being out there, it just shows how wrong they were at the time. I'm sure some of it came down and burnt up in the atmosphere, but there's a whole lot more still hanging out there in space.
Tons, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, James, the other night you mentioned you watched some William Shatner thing. What was that?
oh, he's narrating a new show on the Travel Channel called The Unexplained, and he also makes appearances on Ancient Aliens.
Oh, that's on the History Channel.
Yes, I'm sorry, not on the Travel Channel, on the History Channel.
Yeah, I've seen that show. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, the paranormal shows are on the Travel Channel.
Mm.
Yeah, The Unexplained. It's actually quite good, and I give him a lot of credit for having the physical ability to be that sharp and that alert and that.
He's like 90.
He's 90.
On the Ancient Aliens, when he's on it, the typical people that you see that they have on the show, on a lot of the episodes that talk about, well, like the really popular ones with people that resonate, those guys and those scientists and those PhD people, whoever they are, even some of the religious figures that they have that are part of different religious organizations that know the history of those religious organizations. William Shatner will be on and kind of at like a roundtable discussion with these people and asking these questions, and they kind of go through and talk about those their findings or whatever they think about the said topic of ancient aliens, or how do you explain Nazca lines, or how do you explain the pyramids, and what's really funny about the pyramids is or we're still finding things about the pyramids, or these other places around the world.
Or they're saying the Sphinx is actually more than 10,000 years old, not 5,000 or 6,000, whatever.
Or you're hearing stuff like the ancient Egyptians and the Mayans maybe possibly knew much more about each other than anybody really knew, and how in the world, no pun intended, how in the world could those two civilizations ever really get into contact with each other, other than something having to help them be in that contact, or having somebody, or having something, bring these two entities together, right?
Let alone having pyramid-like structures in their own
all around the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was kind of like, what was that, Alien versus Predator, where they had that sort of thing in Antarctica type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And at one point, Antarctica we're discovering wasn't just covered in ice and snow. It was a green continent, and we do believe now that we've seen some evidence that there was actually a human race that lived on that continent before.
Yeah. Well, it's a continent. It's land. It's not a frozen Arctic Ocean like the North. They have a mountain range. They have what appears to be pyramids. There has been sites of unusual craft going into a tunnel.
Lake Volstock, is that it? Lake Volstock. That's the deepest lake in the entire world, and it's a frozen lake. You have to go like a mile underneath the ice to even get to where it's actually liquid. Something like that.
And I thought Loch Ness was real deep, at 800 some odd feet, but there are other lakes that are even deeper.
It's interesting. It's interesting hearing about some of the moons around, even just in the solar system. Like there's one, I think it's Jupiter. There's Europa, and there's Enceladus. I think they're all Jupiter, where we pretty much have a pretty good idea. We have a pretty good idea that there's layers of solid ice that are water. And that if you and who knows after that fact, if you drill and get down however many miles it is to get down underneath that ice, we have a pretty good thought that there is liquid. There's a liquid ocean underneath a lot of the ice, and who knows what's in there, right?
Yeah, and to go on to what you were saying, Eric, Europa has an elliptical orbit around Jupiter. Okay, now once it gets to a certain point, now I know this is going to be a gross exaggeration of an elliptical orbit that I'm going to show you guys. So bear with me. This finger here that I'm tapping is Jupiter. Now this finger here is going to be Europa. Now when it comes down, it's kind of still in Jupiter's orbit, but it has that gravitational pull. Now it's going to come back around, and once it gets to a certain point, that's when the gravitational forces start working on Europa. Now, some would say God doesn't work in straight lines, but you do have straight lines in history that might not be necessarily straight compared to man's straight lines, but it's still straight nonetheless. Okay. Now, when it gets close to Jupiter, like about here or so, roughly, that's when you get them gravitational forces and whatnot working on that shell of ice that's covering Europa, that's covering all that water underneath. Now, all that breaks. Now, when it gets to a certain point, you're going to have like what they call a volcano effect. Now, you're going to have this water shoot up through these cracks in the ice into space. Now, it doesn't have no atmosphere. Now, here on Earth, we're going to have atmosphere. Now, it's going to be as much as 5 miles in the air here on Earth that the ashes and whatnot from these volcanoes shoot up from. Now, Europa, with it being in the vacuum of space, it's going to shoot up 15, 20, 100 feet or miles up in the space out, and they're called plumes. Okay, now they might fall back down on Europa, but then again, they travel in the circulation of our galaxy. Now, some could say some of that water's landed on Earth. If it did, it did. If it hasn't, it hasn't. But it's a nice concept. But with Jupiter having as much gravity as it does, for as big as it is, a lot of that probably went into Jupiter's atmosphere, feeding into the storms and whatnot that it creates on its own weather pattern. So, yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Yeah. So,
Excellent. Very well put. Yes, you know, a lot of things are in theory. You know, now they're saying the Big Bang theory is just a theory that, you know, they don't. Now there are people bucking heads over that, saying that the universe was not created by that. Science sometimes debunks itself. You know, it's what is thought to be fact later on is debunked and replaced by more accurate facts. So it's just amazing. But you know, like George Costanza says, you can't beat science. No way, no how. Not like science. Can't beat science.
Nope.
Go with the science. Like Joe Biden says, we're gonna go with the science. We're gonna go with the science. We're gonna go with the science.
So, James, another thing that you wanted to talk about were not-for-profit. The term not-for-profit, right?
Yes.
So,
I mean, now that we're in the Christmas or the holiday season, we're getting bombarded with charities left and right.
Absolutely, right? You know, how many of you have donated to a charity, right? You know,
not me.
How many of you have, when you've entered your supermarket or mall, have put whatever loose change or dollar bills you might have in your pocket, you put it in that person ringing the bell for Salvation Army, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, well, the Salvation Army, I think, is a good charity organization. But if you think about a place like the United Way, guess how much now I don't have the statistic in front of me because we're outside, but I think that the CEO of United Way
I can look it up.
was probably in the $5 or $10 million range of pay last year, right? So that means some piece of money that you think is going to a good cause is getting sliced out of that good cause, and it's being put in the pocket of somebody who lives on a mansion and probably has a private plane.
This is from the United Way's website, unitedway.org. The United Way Worldwide's CEO received total compensation, or his total compensation in 2019 was $1,578,515. That's how much he made in a year.
Isn't that ridiculous, right?
Nonprofit. Every company's out. Even if you're nonprofit, it's still a job, and you're still trying to make money so you can survive. It's contradictory to call it nonprofit when you still have a salary. So no one's doing charity for free.
Yeah, they got administrative fees. And
the biggest nonprofit that James P. Madonna hates, and I would feed him to the largest alligator too, is the Joel Osteen Ministries.
Oh God!
Did you hear about that? They just found hundreds of envelopes behind this toilet, packed with money and donations and cash and everything. It's so ridiculous. This guy lives on the biggest he's got like 100 acres and 40,000 square feet and pools and private planes and everything. And this guy, give me your money. Right? He goes on TV. I need every penny, every penny.
Yeah, he's a prosperity preacher, but he's the one with the prosperity.
Last year, the CEO, Nancy Brown of the American Heart Association, made $2,517,493. American Heart Association.
Think about that for a minute. I mean, this is James and I were talking on WhatsApp earlier, and I don't have the website, but thank you, Eric, for helping us out here, because this is another one of those things that I think should be, if not completely out in the open, it should at least be discussed, how corrupt and how their moral compass is completely in the wrong direction if they're taking multi-million-dollar salaries, right? What do they do that deserves a multi-million-dollar salary? Because that's that many millions less that should be going and could be going to much better deserved charities and organizations around this world.
Not trying to get really political, but I bet you some people would roll over in their early graves when they hear Leana Wen, W-E-N, which was the past president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, made as of June 30th, 2020, her salary was at that time $1,284,549 or $59 for Planned Parenthood CEO.
And Planned Parenthood is a non-profit. I think it's a tax-free, or they're getting some kind of a tax break, right?
And it says here that this includes $655,000 severance payment.
So basically half the person's salary was in the form of severance. Is that what you're saying, or?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, not just. I mean, the March of Dimes, American Red Cross. They all have these CEOs that are making astronomical sums. I think charities fundraisers should be comprised of volunteer workers because it's a charity. It should be volunteer.
Like the Army, right? It should be volunteer.
Salvation Army. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, 25 cents on a dollar goes to the worthy cause. Maybe even less. That's despicable.
No, it should be something but hey, what do I know?
Administrative.
We see it as we see it. We call it as
that's their problem. They have administrative costs. That's their problem. You're given to a charity. It's not your problem that they decide to have administrative costs.
They could use more of that money that the CEO is making towards their charity.
Yeah, why doesn't the CEO make a astronomical donation?
He probably, I bet you that person does, but it's so far in between. It's so far disproportionate to the amount of money that the dude makes, or the woman,
probably for tax
or the
purposes.
lady.
Well, how about this for a minute? Just think about this, right? Maybe these CEOs are lining up these business deals because like in American Red Cross, the money you donate goes toward feeding others in impoverished nations and things. And what are they feeding them with, right? And maybe even water, right? Think about the most basic of necessities is air and water. Clean drinking water, which it's a travesty that not everyone on this planet has access to. So maybe these CEOs are saying, hey, Mr. Water Company, right? We're going to buy a ton of water from you. And then you kind of funnel these little kickbacks under the table to me. So maybe that's their salary on paper, but who knows what kind of shady back dealings, things they have going on with all these other companies that they probably know of, which they claim we get the best deal from this water company. But yet this guy gets 10 cents on every dollar in a kickback if he buys the water from them or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Possibly, yeah. I'm sure there's backroom deals.
So, Eric, last week you were drinking a non-alcoholic beer. This week you're drinking Diet Coke or Coke Zero. Any beer today or no?
Probably, maybe not. I don't know. I got I was doing a beer review on food. Was I doing one on food? I think I was doing one on Food Friday with Alex the Beer Master. I got that great old COVID booster shot on Friday, and I've sort of been feeling under the weather for a little bit over the weekend. So I'm not really feeling too much of the beer stuff lately. I did do the Stout Sunday today, but I didn't really feel. Drinking that beer didn't really make me feel all that great earlier.
I got the Moderna booster Friday.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, Moderna.
You feel free or something, right?
I got the Moderna booster Friday, just like Eric did.
Yeah.
Eric, you drank something like a 603. You'll feel free, right?
Yes, earlier it was a coffee cake porter. It was all right. It wasn't anything to really write home about. I wouldn't recommend anybody running to their next local store if they had it. Not really.
Are you tasting the Sam Adams Oktoberfest just to knock it off?
I don't know.
No, I mean Jason, the Sam Adams. Or did you?
We will have some in a minute here. I actually started running. These are the. This is how high budget the production of this is. My phone started running out of battery, so my last break that I took, I went and got an extension cord, and now the phone is powered up. But it leaves me less freedom to move it toward the back there. So I'll just get some more battery.
Well, you could, yeah, but as it's charging, I'm sure there's enough for you to unplug it just to go back there and then come back.
Yeah. Next time, get a longer extension cord.
No. I mean, I got a 6 foot. I got 2 6-foot USBs, but it's charging now. So
that's true. Should we take it? What you're saying is you want to take a look at the.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is how much electricity is going down to the dinosaur egg gonna pull?
Oh, none. Let me just. Yeah, you're right.
You're not there. Yeah. Well,
here we go.
So take a look.
You're not there that long. I mean.
Now this is the. I need to. Okay, let me know if that looks all right.
Yeah, looks good.
So we've kind of cranked up the heat here.
Oh yeah.
So we've kind of got, this is about where I want these vegetables to be, because we're going to very shortly, and that looks pretty good, right? Very shortly, once these things vegetables get cooked down a little bit more, we're going to put this in here and then kind of let that sit for maybe a half hour or so. But I would say this is looking kind of right at where we should be with the time that I started this. So the expectation is good that this will turn out excellent. So
excellent, beautiful. It's caramelized, the vegetables, right? That's what they say.
That's right.
caramelizes, or like the whiskey scout likes to say caramel. I can't say caramel because it's not spelled that way.
Caramelized? That's not
Caramel.
a word.
Caramel.
Caramel or caramel?
I say caramel because that's the way it's spelled.
That's what I say, yeah. I don't say syrup, I say syrup too. Syrup? Caramel?
Yeah, where do they get caramel from?
That looks all right.
Like a freaking chocolate egg cream. There's no eggs in an egg cream.
Except for those Cadbury ones and the Easter time.
Yeah, this chocolate or vanilla syrup, seltzer water, and whole milk.
Caramel or caramel?
I say caramel.
That's what it looks like to me. Oh well, everybody's entitled, I guess.
Whatever.
But then they're wrong. We say they're entitled, but then we say they're wrong.
You're entitled, but you're actually wrong.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion.
But you're entitled. Yeah, you're entitled to being wrong.
God, well, America gave you the right to. America allows you the right to be wrong. There you go. There you go, people.
And we're entitled to be always right. But don't forget, you're in America, so you're entitled.
America. Yep.
Let me tell you something there. I know how to pick roadkill. When I go out there, I can tell if there's riggy mortis in that animal.
Animal? Animer.
Riggy mortis. It's like in Hollywood. I don't know.
Richard
a guy I know from Tennessee, Nate, what's his name? Nathan Bateman. He says, we don't talk like that down here. That's Hollywood. I says, yeah, but don't you say Alabama and North Carolina,
yeah,
and Louisiana, and don't you pronounce like I go? No,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing when you see it's the same thing when you see those recent Samuel Adams beer commercials when it's your cousin from Boston. I get it to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, nobody actually talks like that in Boston. There is obviously an accent. It is nowhere near as thick as your cousin from Boston.
Look, shooting star. It's a shooting star. Shooting star. Pack the car.
Nobody ever talks about parking their car as much as everybody else thinks that Bostonians do.
No, he exaggerates the accent.
Just a little.
I could tell the New England accent, and it's not as bad.
It's not that bad. And then you have people in Hollywood that are even from this part of the country, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck or whatever his last name is. That even or not even those guys, like even Mark Wahlberg, when he's doing a movie, I think he's forced to over exaggerate that Boston accent. Like when you watch those Ted movies with Seth MacFarlane with the teddy bear there, his accent in that movie, the Mark Wahlberg's is so exaggerated. It's not even funny how he says how he has the Boston accent. It's way too thick and just makes him sound dopey. I don't know.
I mean, I could detect it, but it's not like it's not that bad.
Even Adam Sandler will kind of do it in some of his movies with his New York accent, and sometimes I think his is even a little bit too dramatized.
Well, you know who has, I don't know if it's exaggerated, but like Rosie Perez and Pam Drescher, the nanny,
Oh God, yeah.
Yes, the nanny.
Those are, I don't know if they're exaggerating or they really talk that way. I think Brooklyn.
Fran Drescher is just difficult to listen to on a good day.
She's like nails across the chalkboard.
Oh God.
Yeah, but James, if it was 25 degrees outside and Fran Drescher knocked at your door and wanted to use your phone, you wouldn't leave her out there, would you? No,
I wouldn't let her freeze to death, but I couldn't listen to that for hours on end, day after day. Well, look at what's her name? Sofia Vergara, you know, she's so overly dramatic. She's always nagging that poor man, Al Bundy.
Oh, Ned, something.
Yeah, whatever his name.
Something O'Neill.
O'Neill. She's always nagging him. She's
O'Neill.
Yeah, she's overly dramatic, and she's got the accent. But if she, in real life, she's probably, you know, she doesn't get overexcited and melodramatic, and
like she is on every talk show she's been on.
Well, she's promoting her agenda, you know, whatever she's
been promoting something, right?
She's on camera, and she's promoting something. Like usually, celebrities on talk shows either wrote a book or they've done a new movie. Mm-hmm. There's always something that they're promoting. Except for when he was alive, when like Rodney Dangerfield,
who just turned 100.
Yeah, in his grave, yeah, turned 100. And I mean, they used to come on and they had their shtick, you know, they had their comedy. Don Rickles, you know, they weren't promoting anything in particular.
I don't remember Jerry Seinfeld. Speaking of like that Seinfeld show we've been constantly talking about today, I don't remember him having any like giant thick New York accent or any kind of an accent where he was trying to be stereotypical about I'm from New York. I'm from New York. Can't you hear my accent? Like you never heard that out of him.
Even Larry David.
Yeah, it seemed like he was more whiny.
He's whiny.
It's like, yeah, that's your accent.
Larry David is from Brooklyn, and he doesn't have a Brooklyn accent.
No, Michael Komaroff doesn't have any accent.
He doesn't have any either, right?
I've had people ask me if I'm from the Midwest with whatever kind of accent I have. I mean, well,
don't get me wrong, Eric. Hey,
now my friend, Mick.
You don't have the Midwest accent, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I could tell BC. I could tell his accent is from that part of the country.
Detroit.
My friend Mick Von Raven is from Chicago, and he has a distinct accent that is sort of similar to BC's. Like he'll say, "I'm from Chicago."
Yeah, he does have some kind of an accent.
Yeah, he'll do that kind of.
I would say that there's got to be some kind of an accent that's distinctively Detroit. I would have to imagine, right, BC?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of tone it down for the shows, and there's a lot of slang that's uniquely us. I like to think, and there's some phrases and words that we throw around without using, and okay, I'm sure it's the same thing with you, Eric, or you, Jason, or even James. And it's like, we got a thing called, or like a word called bet, P-E-T, bet. Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm going to come check you out tomorrow. All right, bet. And it's like, it's one of the things where it's like we kind of throw that around where it's uniquely our own, but beyond that is like we don't actually hear it from anybody else. And anybody that's actually ever watched what is that, Kevin Hart? And I know there's a thing on TikTok where they show him, it's like, oh, this and that. It's like, all right, bitch, bet. And it's like, okay, that sounds like a Detroit thing to me. And with me living in the downriver area, it's one of them things where it's like, I like to think uniquely our own. And he must have spent some time out here in the Detroit area to be using, all right, bitch, bet, this, that, whatever. And it's like, all right, whatever. And it's like, when I used to listen to them old rap groups like Public Enemy and whoever from the Bronx or the New York area. And it's like, word is bond. And it's like, I never use word is bond, but I understand what they're trying to say with word is bond. It's like I'm holding you to what you're trying to tell me, and it's one of them deals. And it's like, all right, bet for us. It was like, okay, like Jason. Oh, I'll be over there tomorrow at Saturday. All right, bet. That means I'm going to hold you to it, so to
I
say.
kind of like that, BC. And how long have you been using that? As long as you can remember, probably, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of our natural things that we say around here in the region. So, I mean, when you say, all right, bet, I totally get what you're telling me. So,
So if somebody says, "Hey, BC, are you going to be on James P. Madonna's show next Sunday?" You're like, "Bet, right?"
I'll be like, all right, bet. Yep, that's right. Bet.
All right, bet. Like you can count on it, guaranteed, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So,
I like that. You know, one thing I meant to ask you, BC, which maybe we've talked about this, is a Detroit style pizza. Pizza Hut is really pushing this Detroit style pizza. Now, what is the difference between Detroit style pizza and a Chicago style pizza?
okay. Well, first things first. First thing I always say, if you look up on YouTube, look up Sam the Cook Guy. Okay,
I love
he's
that
a
guy.
cookie.
Guy has 3
Yeah.
million.
Okay. Okay. So he does his. It's kind of close to Detroit style pizza, the way he does it, and it's if you look up Jet's Pizza or Buddy's Pizza, the way
Yep.
it is kind of like a rectangular pizza. And what they do is like I said, it's a rectangle pizza. And what they do is they get a ladle full of pizza sauce. They lay a layer on one side, and then they do it again on the other side. So you get like one half of a line of pizza sauce, and then the same thing on the other side. You get a line of pizza sauce. And then what they do is they put on all the toppings. They put the cheese all the way across from one side of the tin to the other side of the tin. And I'm talking about the container that they hold the pizza in. Now the cheese melts, and then you get like a crispy, crunchy cheese around the edge, around the whole pizza. And now, for me, I love the corners of a Detroit style pizza because you get more of that crunch of the cheese on the edge because they put the cheese all the way to the edge.
So there's no, like a typical pizza would have like a crust, you're right? It sounds like Detroit is all the way to the end. There's no.
Yeah, there's no pizza crust or there's no thing to actually hold the pizza like say you would have in New York or Chicago or even maybe out there in Washington, where you got something to hold like a bread crust or a pizza crust. Now for us in Detroit, there's no edge to hold it. It's one big pizza. There's no edges of bread of anything other than underneath. So it's a unique thing. And I actually had somebody tell me that Detroit style pizza is the same as Chicago style pizza. And I laughed in their face because I knew it wasn't the same thing. I went on to say Chicago is the same thing as New York. And we both know that's not true. So I knew they were joking. So that's why I went the way I did. And
so it sounds like, this Chicago style pizza might become more of a mainstream thing. The fact that Pizza Hut is really pushing the Chicago style pizza.
Oh, the Chicago, yeah. I mean, like I said,
I'm sorry, Detroit. What am I saying?
Yeah. Now I know Chicago has its own thing, like the deep dish.
Yeah.
Now, New York. Hold on. I'll be
No
back.
problem.
All right.
That man is going to die on stream one day, and it will be sad. I hope not.
Everybody has to make their final decisions in life. That's all. They can't. Nobody can make others.
You know, kind of going on about that. My boss goes on about me and my smoking, and I've told him kind of what you're saying. You know, he talked about me quitting smoking. And I told him the only one that's going to make that decision is me. And I'm not ready to get up yet. And, you know, I mean, I get it. I know it looks bad. It sounds bad. I know, but I'm not ready to give that up yet. I mean, the key word yet. I know I'm going to have to give it up, but I'm not at that point yet, even though it looks like it. But old habits die hard. So I totally get it. So
yeah, that's what I told Eric about. An adult human being has to make their own final decisions when they're good and ready. That's it. My brother chain smokes, and he just yeses me to death, and he used to do that to my mother. You know, my sister. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. You know, he's the only one that can make that decision. So,
yeah.
I was always curious about something there, BC. Not to change the subject, but hockey. The Detroit Red Wings.
Oh yeah.
What exactly is a Red Wing?
Right back.
All right. I see a tire, the logo.
Yeah,
I see a tire. I see one red wing on top of it.
Well, now that's a complicated answer. I mean, as far as hockey goes, I have no idea. But I mean,
it's
in
a
a
red
way,
wing.
I hate to go into the subject, but since this is an open topic and we kind of go where most people don't go, and I'll go there. That's right. I said I'll go there.
I mean, it's a wing, but what is the wing? What does the wing have to do with Detroit?
I can read the information I found. Yeah. Apparently,
there's a wheel and there's a wing.
Norris, okay. Bought the club.
Hold on, you found the answer. I think
some dude named James Norris in 1932 bought the club and decided to rename the team to the Red Wings. It was a nod to the quote Winged Wheelers, which was a name of a hockey club Norris played for in Montreal. He chose the winged wheel as their logo in honor Detroit's booming automobile history.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Now I knew the wheel was a part of the honoring of the automotive industry. Yeah.
So the wing is what? The Red Wing is in connection with a hockey team.
The Winged Wheelers, which is a hockey team that James Norris played for in Montreal. So it has nothing to do as the wing has zero to do with the city of Detroit.
Okay. And
I think that's kind of a dumb idea. I think that's kind of stupid to as an homage to some other country's city. I'm going to put this on my city's emblem for.
So you have Motown, which means the Motor City, right?
Yeah.
Motown.
Yeah.
How about this one? The Cleveland Browns are named the Cleveland Browns after their owner at one point in time, Jim Brown. That's kind of dumb. Your owner named the team after himself. What a jackass!
How narcissistic and egomaniacal is that? That's like
I wish I made that up, but I couldn't make that up.
That's like you being a multi-billionaire and buying a major team, calling it the Fraunfelters.
Ooh, no. Ooh, nope.
Why you like that
idea?
The Boston Prawns.
No. Yeah.
The Fighting Fraunfelters.
Our logo's gonna look like little prawns. The prawns.
Prawns, the fighting prawns.
I don't know about that.
You
I
know,
don't know.
Louisiana should, if they ever get a baseball team, they can call their team the Prawns.
Oh.
You know, the bubble
Did you
gum
say
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
prawns. We're about the nobody ever named after anything after the gnats, the gnat, the insect.
Well,
I
there's
always
the gnats. The gnats are like the short version. The gnats are the nickname for the Nationals, NATS, of baseball.
Right.
Yeah, Washington have the Washington Nationals and baseball.
The Washington Nationals existed before the Washington Senators, and the
Yeah.
Senators moved to Minneapolis and became the Minnesota Twins.
And talking about Minnesota, I love the Minnesota North Stars before they became the Dallas Stars.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there was the Minnesota North Stars, and the basketball is the Timberwolves, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, but the Lakers really, the Lakers really applies to Minnesota because it's a land of 10,000 lakes or whatever. You know, there's a lot of lakes in Minnesota. There's no lakes, I don't think, in Los Angeles. So why did they keep the name the Lakers when they moved to LA?
I don't know. It's kind of like LA Dodgers. They used to be in New York, but they moved out to LA. But they kept Dodgers.
Yeah, the original Dodgers were the Brooklyn trolley Dodgers because there were a lot of trolley cars like there was in San Francisco or like there is, and trolley Dodgers are people that had to get out of the way from being run over by the trolleys, and it was the trolley Dodgers. And before that, it was the Bridegrooms. Talk about a lame name for a baseball team. Then they moved to LA, but they kept the name Dodgers. It has no connection with LA.
Right, Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah, or the Raiders went from Oakland to Las Vegas. No, they went from Oakland to LA, then they went to Las Vegas. But there's no body of water. So.
Did they go from like Oakland to LA and then back to Oakland and then
back to Oakland? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
They should have moved because Las Vegas is running out of water. So I don't know how much longer Las Vegas can.
Well, they're going to have to do, as far as the water goes, they're going to have to do what Rome did and build the aqueduct.
Yeah, just pipe it over long distances, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because there was nothing there when they built the first hotel casino, which was the Flamingo. It was nothing. It was just pure desert, and then now there's like resorts with fountains and huge fountains, swimming pools, and there's a community there's a residential community that was growing until they started laying off casino workers. Now there's a lot of foreclosed homes in Las Vegas on sale.
I was watching one of them specials or I guess 2020 type of deals where they show like after I think Hurricane Katrina where they hit Louisiana and there were just like neighborhoods of empty houses that everybody moved out because of the hurricane and nobody moved back. And, I could just imagine how many squatters there could be in them houses right now because there's so many of them.
Well, Hurricane Ida, I mean, the people, the people in southern Louisiana, they're still recovering from that, the damage done to their homes. They're still in bad shape.
Isn't James, our buddy Jay Terrio, still talking about from the last storm? I don't know what happened physically. Couldn't have been tremendously that awful, but he said that from that last storm that they had, he's still getting stuff done to his house.
No, he hasn't gotten the repairs done.
Oh,
And
he
for other
hasn't.
people,
Ooh, nice
he has
fight.
not. Has not.
Wow.
He has.
I thought I could be wrong, and maybe I'd have to go back through
Well,
Stout Sunday. But I thought on Stout Sunday he might have started talking about repairs or something. He was mentioning something about repairs. Maybe they
well,
haven't.
they're taking their sweet ass time to do it. That's for
Might be
sure.
right.
And,
Yeah.
but
I know
other
at one point the carport that needs to be fixed. So I don't know.
it needs to be built. It was wiped out. It needs to be built. Period.
Yeah.
Well, other people had much more devastating losses than Jay Terrio did.
You would think your homeowner's insurance would be able to compensate you for that. So some of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
By
Depending
time-
on
But then again, maybe homeowners insurance looks at living in that part of the country as a liability as it is.
But by time the adjuster comes to your home to assess the damage,
It's too,
you have
yeah.
to wait for the adjuster. Then you have to wait. You have to find the contractors that are going to do it. Then you got to wait. And because there's a whole list of people that they have now, because
Dougie.
there's a lot of people that are totally need to be rebuilt.
They're suffering and their heads are just above water, no pun intended on that one, but
Yeah,
they
their
can only
nostrils.
do what they can do about the situation.
Yeah, their nostrils are above water. Now Jason's little
I'm back.
bonfire.
It ran out of gas, but I put another propane cylinder in. The fire's going again.
Yeah, okay, got you.
So that was kind of the. Now we're actually.
I wonder how much a cord of dry wood would be in your area compared to.
Look that up right now. So let's say if you were to buy 6 months ago, it's supply and demand, right? 6 months ago, it's about 200. Now it's about 400 a cord.
400, that much?
Yeah.
That's like, isn't that like buying a living room or a dining room set almost?
Yeah, $400 a cord. That's
400.
delivered. That's not like just logs in your front yard. That's split, delivered, stacked, all that.
Nice. Very good.
They got you over the coals. They got you bent over the coals. No pun intended.
Bent over the coals.
Bent over the coals.
So James, who's in the chat? Is there anybody in the chat? It's hard to see.
No. Well, aside from Daryl Messias and your friend Jeremy Sontag, nobody and Massoon.
Normally Sid or Bart Robbins.
No, nobody. And Enjoy the Decline sometimes shows up. No, nobody else showed up. I think they're all glued to the football game, maybe.
Yeah, well, a lot of the football right now is getting to the point for the NFL where either your team is going to have a chance to make playoffs or it's too late.
Oh, so these people were glued because their team might have been
Eliminated. Maybe, yeah.
And these are because if neither of the teams in the playoffs are your concern, then your interest would drop off.
Maybe, yeah. I'm guessing that Jets obviously and probably the Giants won't be making any playoffs anytime soon. But where the Patriots are playing the Buffalo Bills, that's going to be a gigantic game tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow. I think it's the 8:15. We'll see what happens with that. I think there are a lot of people. If you talk to Chatio on the internet and you talk to Lone Stars Lounge, they both had their little hanging Chads program this morning, and they were both like, "Yeah, well, at least Lone Star was pretty much like, yeah, the Patriots actually really suck. They're not going to win that game." I'm like, "Are you mental? If they suck, they wouldn't have won like 6 games in a row. 2 of them against really legitimately serious contenders. Like they beat the Titans, or was it the Titans? No, it was the Titans. And at one point, they were the best team in the AFC.
That's right. And I would say one thing too, Eric, to just the benefit of the Patriots overall is the Bills have not really looked that great this year. They've had some bad games. They're they're playing in upstate New York tomorrow, where it's expected to be rather cold and weather could be an impact, right?
Yeah.
And there's not a better coach that's prepared for his team for playing in poor weather conditions than Bill Belichick, right? So,
Hey, Bart Robinson is here. Greetings, Bart Robinson.
See if I can show that.
Bart.
You gonna see that? Oh yeah, that is the Snow Bowl right there. Snow Bowl against can
Oakland.
you see that? That's that one against the Raiders.
Yeah, Oakland Raiders, 2001, right?
If anybody knows how to do it in the snow, I think it's the Patriots that'll be able to.
Pendulum. Will the New England Patriots win their game against Buffalo Bills tomorrow night?
Uh-oh.
What direction is that going? Counterclockwise?
No, clockwise.
Oh, clockwise. Okay.
No, it says yes.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. Okay.
What other prominent games are happening coming up?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you want to look, James, at what's happening on the egg?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Where is
This
it?
fire, okay. For like the last 20 minutes, I'm like, this fire feels terrible. Now look at it. I mean, you can definitely tell that with the new cylinder, it with that new propane cylinder, we're definitely cooking with gas now, so to speak, right?
I just want to tell Bart that we've been showing barbecue going on here, both with Jason Cleveland in the state of Washington, and also BC Beer Reviews in Michigan has a smoker grill. So he's got a chuck roast in a
okay, here we go.
In a cornucopia of
look at this here. Can you guys see that?
Oh, look how tender. Oh, and
this is
normally chuck is tough as shoe leather, right?
Correct.
But they treat it like this for it to not taste like that.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh,
Wow.
I'm drooling already. I'm slobbing.
You're slobbering.
Yeah, this is definitely, we're going to have a good meal this evening for sure. This is definitely, it's definitely coming around where I wanted it to. How's that showing up on the video? Does that look all right?
Very well.
Very good.
Oh, it looks awesome.
Looks good.
I wish
to me.
I was right there with you.
Yeah, so we'll just keep the lid closed and
Jason, I wonder if the very inexpensive London broil can be cooked to the same degree of tenderness.
I would imagine.
In that
yeah,
fat.
I would think so. Yeah, sure.
Because when they go on sale, I mean, you can get slabs of that.
What's another piece of meat? The flat iron.
Yeah, flat iron steak, right?
Yeah, I love that stuff too. Yeah.
There we go. The fire's
nice
going
setup,
well.
man. Nice. There's the setup, gentlemen.
There's the
he's got a nice picturesque landscaped backyard there with the stonework and the
good old Midwest, or good old
pines in the background. And,
yeah, can you still see the fog? Maybe a little bit, right?
Yeah, I can
see it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Stockade, nice high wooden stockade fence.
Look at
that. Another day out in the Pacific Northwest, huh?
That massive tree. That thing's about 100 feet tall there, if you can see that.
I guess you might get Sasquatches show up right there.
Sasquatch might show up in my backyard, yeah.
Sasquatchy, yeah.
Sasquatchian.
The Italian Sasquatch.
That's a Canadian Sasquatch, Sasquatchian.
Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan.
Sasquatch, eh? Yeah. What's he talking about?
That looked really good.
Michigan's close enough to Canada, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're practically neighbors.
You could call Detroit South Toronto if you wanted.
Yeah.
Now, Detroit is Detroit. Now, Detroit actually is a French word that means straits. You know, like a narrow passage connecting two bodies of water. Now, I know one body of water is Lake Erie. What's the other one? Lake Huron or Michigan?
Yeah, Lake
There's like-
you got Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and
There you go.
let's not forget Lake Ontario. I keep forgetting that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Rochester, New York, and Toronto is. Lake Ontario.
Yeah. And we've got a city called River Rouge, and it got the color or the name Rouge from the color from the streams that feed into Lake Erie, because it used to have a rouge color to it, so that's why it's called River Rouge.
Gotcha.
There was a Ford plant, the River Rouge plant. They used to forge castings there, I think, for the Ford V8s. Look it up. It's one of the major forging factories in the country. River Rouge plant.
Yeah, and we called it the Rouge plant. Yeah, and now if you guys ever come out here, there's a museum called the Henry Ford Museum. There's an indoor and outdoor museum right next door to each other. You got the indoor that was the Henry Ford Museum, and then you got the outdoor, which is called Greenfield Village, and then they've got what they call the Rouge plant tours, where you go to their factory site in Rouge or River Rouge, where they build their F-150s.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, I mean,
speaking of barbecue, not sure if you guys know this. I'm sure you do, James. The history of Kingsford charcoal.
I know this.
Yeah, you know this, right? People might say that Henry Ford was an industrialist, and he was also an environmentalist. Way back in the day, they used to make their wheels of wood. Their bodies were made of wood, Model T vehicles. And there was a lot of waste when it came to making the bodies and the frames and chassis for these vehicles. And Henry Ford, kind of thought, like, what do we do with this wood? You just throw it away or whatever. Well, Kingsford with a Ford in the back end, right?
It was King and then Ford come together as Kingsford.
That's
and
right.
They used to sell these products as charcoal briquettes,
Absolutely.
excess waste, and they would make money. So Henry Ford tried to maximize everything he could out of everything that he did in his assembly plant line. Basically, what you're trying to get at, yeah.
So he got Mr. King started, Henry Ford, because the wooden aspect of auto manufacturing eventually disappeared, right? And
that's right. But these factories, they actually had these massive forests where they would get the wood from too. So it was a total sustainable manufacturing method. You would plant trees in the forest that you own the property on. You would harvest the wood for the bodies, and then any residual waste would be turned into charcoal. So you would sort of have it was a sustainable, no waste environment with their production.
Yeah, it was all self-sustaining. Yeah.
Self-sustaining, yeah.
So that's kind of more trivia for your barbecue banter, Keto Kings.
Yeah,
screw you movement.
I even watched the big McDonald's Burger King war when McDonald's first got off the ground, when they were just a little they were like in a small town in the Midwest, and how they just grew, and then Burger King came on the scene. I watched that whole documentary. It was fascinating. What was the French fries? They decided on getting the Idaho russet potatoes to use for their McDonald's French fries. And then they mentioned White Castle, which I happen to like. But
and White Castles is awesome. I love White Castles. Oh my
We don't get that in New England.
That's a relationship with me though. I love eating them, but going to the bathroom for number 2, that's a different story. That's the hate relationship there.
A White Castle, they don't advertise, and people don't know that they make awesome barbecue pulled pork sandwiches, codfish nuggets, fish sandwiches, fried clams,
Yeah, I was about to say fried clams are awesome. Yep.
Sweet potato fries. They make one of the best milkshakes, tasting wise, one of the best tasting milkshakes. But they only have chocolate and vanilla. You can't get strawberry. It's either chocolate or vanilla. So
I would
sometimes,
say do milk.
yeah, I would ask them to combine it to make like a mocha.
You know, I would love them to do blueberry for a milkshake.
Yeah, that would be really good, actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
why,
because
why always strawberry?
Michigan's kind of known for their blueberries, or at least it's a inside thing in Michigan where we're known for our blueberries. And if you know anybody that has blueberries, they'll never tell you where their blueberries are because they don't want you stealing them because they want them all to themselves. And it's like, whatever, keep me away from you because I'm going to figure out where that blueberry patch is.
They grow a lot of blueberries in South Jersey, and there's a winery there down there that makes blueberry wine, cranberry wine, and it's called Valenzano Winery, I think. Yeah, Tom. That's his way of saying adios and good night. Thomas Metal 75.
Eric, it was a pleasure. As always, it was a
Yes,
pleasure.
it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
I hope you feel better.
Oh yeah, he had the runs from that damn high fructose corn syrup barbecue. Huh?
Yeah, number one, it was pizza, and then number two, it was the booster. Or as they say in his area, the booster.
Booster.
The
Like
booster.
lobster roll. Lobster. Booster. Yeah, he told me he had side effects from the booster. Me, I just got a little pain in the injection site so far. Knock on wood.
Now, James, I meant to ask you this, but I never got around to it. Your dinner last night with the turkey, how was it?
No, it was pretty damn good. It was well, my friend in China, she told me instead of making a big pot of soup, use your steamer rack and just get a big bowl and make one portion, make it fresh. Like make one portion enough for one or two people.
Yep.
I said, oh, I'll give it a shot. So instead of chicken, I said, let me do it with turkey. It came out great. I boiled the egg ramen noodles, and then I put the ramen noodles in the big steel bowl in the turkey soup, and it was great.
How about a midnight snack?
For a midnight snack, I had two arepa with cheese corn cakes for Colombian arepas. I have them in the freezer.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's well when you combine that Spanish cheese in with corn, and it's pretty damn tasty. I mean, let's see, what did he say? Oh yeah, he told me in the private chat that he's definitely not feeling good.
Okay. Yeah, he's under the weather.
What time do you have, James? I don't have a watch on.
Well, my time is 6:26 p.m. and I'm gonna have to close out and start making dinner. I just wanted to say to Eric Frauenfelder, I hope you have plenty of ginger ale in the house because that would help you a lot.
Yeah, that's what we do up here in Michigan. We drink Vernors if we're feeling under the weather. Yeah.
Yeah, like Canada Dry ginger ale, whatever, store brand, just ice cold ginger ale.
Either way.
Yeah, that's it. No food. Don't even drink water. Just drink ginger ale, and that will fix you right up. But anyway, Jason's food is just about done.
It's just about done. In fact, I just got the we have to leave in a half-hour routine, so I got to kind of I hate to say it, I got to kind of button this thing up so that I can get the family fed. So
All right, we're going to button it up. What do we do here? 3 hours and about 3 hours and 30 minutes. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a pleasure. It's always unique. And I just like the unpredictability of, ad-lib and everything. And, just like a hot air balloon, wherever the wind blows is where it goes. And, the subjects tend to just flow into each other. And so it's been a lot of fun. And, and unfortunately, tomorrow's Monday. It's the beginning of a new week. And
I like to say it's been real. It's been fun. And yes, it's been real fun. Yeah.
Fun. And it's been real, like somebody on a fishing trip with the reel. It's been real.
We've been feeling in the entertainment, man.
That could be a workout if you're bringing in big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it, and you got 20, 30-pound fish a pop. But anyway,
great time, James. Thanks again. This has been great. I would have liked to have stuck around and showed you the whole production, but we got to get going in about a half hour. We got about an hour drive from here. There's a place called Warm Beach Christmas Lights. It's a big community type thing where every house decorates. You got to pay money to get in there. And I have a ticket. They do every hour. It takes about an hour to drive through, and I got a ticket to go through the thing at 5 o'clock. So I got to get the family fed. We got to get everybody in the car, and then we got to skedaddle.
So you have they charge a cover charge to see elaborate Christmas.
It's $25, James. I told you everything up here is expensive. It cost me $25 just to drive through a neighborhood. It's ridiculous.
What about getting good binoculars for every one of your family members?
Could you imagine? They got like the peeping toms, right?
That's what I would do, or if you have a drone.
That'd be kind of funny.
If you have a drone, Daryl Messias, it was great.
Yeah, Daryl, take care.
Daryl Messias of Northern California, and also Bart Robertson of the in New Jersey, in the suburb of Philadelphia. Thank you, Bart Robinson. I put maybe someday you'll come aboard our pirate ship, and he's a steady follower of Ronald Theriot, just like yourself, and pretty. I like smart, mature, normal people, and instead of all those lunatics and trolls on the internet. Social media. I like good people that have their heads screwed on right, and also I forgot. Chiropractor, yes, Jeremy Sontag. I thank you for showing up also. You two have a great week. I know it's Monday tomorrow, but every day has 24 hours. And sometimes some people's Mondays are okay, like mine.
Or mine.
I don't have to answer to anybody. Unless I talk to myself, But anyway, take care, everyone. I will see you on as usual on Messenger and WhatsApp. I'll see you guys on the internet. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.